But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is, what night is it? I don't even know anymore. It all blends together when you're having fun. It's one of those nights where we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. We do it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. What are those things, you may wonder? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Got another doozy for you tonight. It seems strange when you watch these news cycles how these things, just these recurring elements. I mean, you remember not too long ago we were talking about the Vegas orb, right? And sort of the orb aspect of things as part of that, this weird, I don't know, just giant skyline situation happening in Vegas with this digital screen on the outside. And oddly enough, they created as one of the initial, art pieces of that actual structure, a massive eyeball. And I was able recently to go down and take a look at this thing myself, and they did have the massive eyeball on the damn thing, and it was a little bit spooky, I got to tell you what. But interestingly, there's been some other things in the news cycle regarding eyeballs, and not just the eyeballs of, let's say, the digital world. Let's say digitizing our eyeballs. And as you know, like we've talked about this a lot in terms of artificial intelligence and how this fits or doesn't fit into the world of our coming dystopia. But the eyeball, the eye itself, is fascinating in a lot of ways because they say it's unique. It's like a fingerprint. It's like that in all the ways you would expect. And it makes things, a little creepy because they say the eyes are the window to the soul. They say that, the evil eye has some sort of magical power, or, you know how you get that feeling when you're being watched and you, even behind your back, it's like somebody's eyes are boring into you. These types of things. There's certainly some sort of mystical, let's say, as unyet determined what it is aspect of what the eyeball is all about. Now, it is unique. It is unique to humans, and each retina is very different, and it is very much like a particular window to the soul, to an individual soul, and maybe even the key to such. Now, where this becomes weird and back to the news cycles and all the stuff we're always talking about. If you've been paying attention, you know that this with the AI stuff like I'm describing, we are now going to be inundated with AI agents. Oh, it is pouring outside. Holy crap. It was like quiet and it just went damn. Anyway, so the thing is this, right? Regarding the AI thing and how this fits is we're going to have billions of AI agents, actual AI agents. We talk about sock puppet Twitter accounts and, the way propaganda is perpetuated in the zeitgeist and, to brainwash us and do all those things, right? But in terms of these AI agents, they're going to be basically storming the interwebs. We're going to need to know how to differentiate between a robot and a person. Okay. Now here's the weird part. You know what they're the owner of OpenAI, which of course is ChatGPT. You know what he's actually describing as part of this? Yeah. We need to scan our eyeballs. Have you seen this? Have you guys seen this? This is absolutely nuts. I'll get to it in a sec because this is a wild one. And they're expecting us to take these orbs, these Worldcoin orbs, and scan our eyeball to basically prove we're human. You've seen those captchas, right? What prove you're not a robot or whatnot. Well, this is going to be the ultimate IRL in real life version of a captcha by scanning your actual retina and using that as sort of your digital fingerprint, digital proof that you're a person. Yeah, it reminds me of Blade Runner, says Leno. That's exactly right. Now, this is the weird part because there's these little orbs they're putting all over the world. And so we'll get back to that in a sec. But it looks like the Vegas thing with like the eyeball. It's like, come on now. Like, how do we do this and not get like these news cycles that make your tinfoil tingle? Because when I see this, I'm like, really? Let's just scan our retina. It'll be fine. This should be fine. In any case, as you know, this is the most interactive radio show in the known multiverse. As a reference point there, and we do this to include you because that's exactly what's happening here. It's a conversation, no answers, just ideas and dialogue, and just trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the world around us. So as usual, I'm reading your chat in all the places, trying to incorporate your thoughts and ideas into the show as we go, which means that we're streaming in all the places you would expect. That's going to be YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And of course, you can find all that stuff directly on the website, troubledminds.org. It's all there, all the social media, everything you would need, the merch stores there, all the links for everything, and including the amazing people that make this show go at troubledminds.org/friends. Go check all that stuff out, and I appreciate that very much. Now, the other part is, let's see, what are we doing? Oh, we're taking your calls. How do you have a conversation if you don't take calls? We're taking your calls at this number, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link also at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. Like I said, the phone number is right on top. You can't miss it. The Discord link is right on top. The listen live is right on top, which is how you get to the radio station. It's all there. It's all set up for maximum ease and efficiency. So do check out the website. All right. Now back to this. This is a weird one. As usual, it wouldn't be Troubled Minds if it wasn't weird. So here we go. This is the article that there's a few of these. This is from Gizmodo, and it's written by Mac DeGurin and Thomas Germain. It looks like Germain. And the headline is, I gazed into Worldcoin's orb and saw a boring dystopia staring back. Oh, that seems fine. This is fine. To the right up. Check this out. Now, this is where we're going to get weird. As usual, nonlinear, open-ended. These things we can talk about magic in the eyes. We can talk about why do they want to scan our retinas? Aren't there other ways maybe we could prove that we're human? And the ultimate captcha shouldn't be sort of an actual something that we can't change. I mean, we're not going to be able to swap our eyeball out if we get hacked, right? Like, imagine if they hack the exact details of your retina, and then they can just impersonate you the world over. Seems fine, right? Anyway, to this. In the face of uncertainty and the advent of new technologies, the human iris, long known for its individual uniqueness, has become a point of interest for an emerging wave of digital innovators. Worldcoin, an ambitious AI company, is seeking to exploit this unique trait to establish digital identities for individuals worldwide. They use mirrored orbs, peculiar yet captivating devices, which scan the irises of people and couple this information with biometric data to form a digital identity protocol they've named World ID. Seems fine. Seems very, nothing to see here, guys. There's no a new world order business happening. There's no mark of the beast. There's no any of that stuff. Like I said, everybody relax. It's just a world ID, a digital identity protocol. Seems fine, right? Those who willingly submit their ocular biometric data are rewarded with a novel digital currency known as WLD. Oh, you get some vaporware coins. Now, how sweet is this? Okay. All right. So, which leads us to a bunch of questions as this begins tonight. Now, number one, are you going to do this? Are you going to go get your actual, what are they calling this? Ocular biometric data scanned to prove you are not a robot? Number one. Number two, do you think giving you some coins, digital currency, vaporware WLD, is enough to make people do this? And I guess it depends on if I can buy a new car with that much WLD. So two, those are the two questions there. The third, what is it with the eyeball? The eye of Osiris, exactly. I see you guys in the chat. What's up, Derek the Night Stalker? I see you there as well. This is the thing. So there is some sort of magic in the eyeball. How do we describe it? You know, it is basically the predominant lens of the human experience. It is, you know, as we've said, also as flawed as it is the dominant, part of what it means to be human. Shout out James, of course. I'm not discounting anybody out there. I'm just saying, in terms of the way humans interact, visually is probably the most prevalent. And again, you know, when you describe things, you describe them visually because it's just what we do. But the weird part about all this, lots of weird parts actually, is that we have this bizarre magic that kind of comes with the eyes. The evil eye, like I said, you know, when you're being watched, even if you're not directly facing that direction, like if somebody's maybe stalking you on your back, you feel somebody staring at you. And there's a lot of things here. Again, the eye of Horus, we go to the eye of Providence, the all-seeing eye. There's a lot of things here that basically, specifically are, well, citing magic, magical sigils and ancient ideas. And of course, some sort of reverence for this magical eye, the iris. Now, not just are you, so the first couple questions, number one, are you going to do this? Are you going to scan your retina? Number one. Number two, do you think some digital vaporware coins is enough to make people do it? Number three, why specifically are we scanning the iris? Like I said, we've got fingerprints. We get a single thumbprint that if you get hacked or whatever, you have another thumb. We have all these fingers, right? We got 10 chances to get hacked with just fingers. Is that not good enough? I don't quite understand. We only have 2 eyeballs. Okay, so if we scan one and you get hacked, basically they're going to scan another, and then you've only got 2. And if that gets hacked, your second identity, your second actual eyeball is, well, compromised, I guess would be the word. And now you've become compromised as a true human. And now you can no longer prove that you're a true human, because the actual robot agents will have co-opted you and used you as whatever they want. Now, this is how this turns into our coming dystopia. And so what do you think about this? Is there something magical in the eye, and why specifically the eye? Aren't there better ways to do this? I mean, dare I say, I'd much rather, give you a drop of my blood. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying I'd do that, but that seems a little less super ridiculously weird than scanning my eyeball. And it is very dystopian. It is very, sci-fi with, retina scanners and things like this. And you see in these horror movies where they're like, we'll just take your eye and that's how we'll break into the place, right? I mean, who knows? Who knows what's really happening in those places, right? In the deep, dark dungeons of actual technological development. But in any case, which comes to mind, actually, I think it was the Da Vinci Code Part 2, where I think in CERN, they just like took the guy's eye or something and scanned it to get in. Anyway, I digress a little bit there. But so point here, back to this. So here's the deal. So those who willingly submit their ocular biometric data are rewarded with a novel digital currency known as WLD. While the premise of Worldcoin's project is intriguing, it is not without significant concerns, which is what I've been saying here. The most profound of these concerns revolves around the sanctity of privacy and the security of the data collected. As we venture into this discussion, let's not forget that these are not just conjectures of paranoid minds or troubled minds. Figures of noteworthy credibility, such as Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin, I think is how you say it, and whistleblower Edward Snowden, have cast a critical gaze upon the endeavor, pointing out its potential vulnerabilities and privacy implications. And like I said, this gets even more weird because it is your eyes, and you only have two, and it is the windows to the soul. So what happens when you're actually able to, why does the audio sound choppy and scratchy? Hold on. Let me reset this thing here real quick. I think we're fine. One moment, please. Let's restart the audio engine. Is it coming through? All right. Let me know if that's better. I think it's a system problem that I think maybe we fixed. Let me know. Okay. So anyway, back to the eyes here. Now, is there something magical in this? And is this sort of a point of no return in terms of, scanning that window to the soul? And once they do, is there something else to this? Do they want this biometric data for simply to allow us to prove we're not robots, or do you think there's something more nefarious at play? And that's what's on my mind tonight, per usual, just talking wild stuff by dark and night. And this one got me because not only do we have sort of this scanning of the eyeball and, prove you're not a robot. Remember, it used to be pick the traffic lights in the pictures or pick how many bicycles or motorcycles or whatnot. Now it's going to be like, well, you can't do anything unless you have this, what are they calling it? World ID. It seems very papers, please, if you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. This one creeps me out in a lot of ways. And not only that, we have these bizarre little orbs. And orbs are an interesting thing as well, because we've talked about the eyeball, of course, the evil eye, this type of thing. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight as well. And the magic of the eyes, we've talked about that in the past. But then we have these orbs, which are basically representative. They look like an eyeball. These orbs look like a damn eyeball. So it's like you stare, the eyeball like of cyberspace stares into your soul, and you stare into the darkness and see this boring dystopia staring back, like this guy says. Now I'm going to sum up this article real quick and let you know what these guys had to say without reading 850 words. But the point of this is it's a little creepy. This is a little bit creepy, and a little bit as usual. These tech firms don't get it, and they seem to overstep in a lot of ways. So here you go. So Worldcoin, a startup founded by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, that's the same guy, the GPT guy, is offering users the opportunity to receive a unique world ID in exchange for an iris scan. The company aims to create a global identity and financial network using these scans, which could be used to verify users' identities across the web. Worldcoin also plans to offer its own cryptocurrency tokens, like I said, to users as a form of universal basic income. Oh boy. However, the company's decision not to offer crypto in exchange for iris scans in the U.S. due to regulatory concerns has led to limited signups. Worldcoin's long-term vision includes compensating users with cryptocurrency for their biometric data, potentially benefiting workers displaced by AI technology. Critics see the company's approach as dystopian and profit-driven. It is popping a bit. Yeah, it could be due to the storm. I don't know. I don't really know. It's too late to change anything unless you want me to just shut it down and, figure out. So we're going to have to live with the popping. Sorry about that. I'll try and reset the audio again in a minute here. But let's see. What else could we have? This is fine. I could swap mics, I guess. Let me know if this is any better. Let's swap mics. Let's do it this way. I'll do it at the break. Anyway, so this is the deal. Like I said, this one creeps me out in a lot of ways. We got these little orbs which look like eyeballs. They look like, you guys remember from Return of the Jedi when in the very beginning we got R2 and C-3PO. They come up to Jabba the Hutt's palace and they knock on the door. It's this massive door, and out of the door pops a little hatch opens, and this eyeball, this mechanical eyeball pops out, and it's speaking some language, right? And and it looks nearly identical to these little things here. Once again, as life imitates art, or vice versa, this is well, our Star Wars dystopian future. Pretty wild stuff. So what about orbs too? So orbs in particular are wild because this is probably the most common UFO shape people see. This is probably the most common, let's say, spirit form people see, the image of the orb. There's a lot of ways to look at this and consider that, I don't know, is this a worldwide ritual of sorts? And again, being able to scan people's biometric data, ocular biometric data, and universal basic income? Seriously? How are you going to forever pay me from one eyeball scan? What happens when the actual money runs out from the fund? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they're not going to give me my eyeball back. So I don't know. As usual, more wild stuff here. Back to the write-up. Looking to hear your thoughts on this, of course, 702-957-1037. Here we go. It's important to note that the iris as an identifier is immutable. Unlike passwords, which can be changed if compromised, an iris cannot be replaced. This immutability makes iris scanning a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can be an effective tool for establishing unique identities. Obviously, like we said, it's the ultimate fingerprint, basically. On the other hand, if this data falls into the wrong hands, the implications could be catastrophic. Imagine a world where a criminal could impersonate you simply by reproducing your iris pattern. And there's not a damn thing you could do about it. And by the way, what happens, like I said, when they scan the other one and then you've been hacked twice, there's going to be like a whole subset of individuals in this dystopian future that have been compromised entirely and cannot prove they are human directly. And yes, indeed. Beyond these immediate concerns, we must also consider potential future implications. In a world where artificial intelligence continues to evolve, the combination of AI and biometric data could lead to unforeseen consequences. Could AI, given enough biometric data, predict human behavior, manipulate our choices, or even control our actions? This may seem far-fetched, but such a dystopian scenario is not entirely outside the realm of possibility. You want to get spooky? Of course. As we continue to grapple with these issues, it is clear that Worldcoin's project is not just a simple case of technological innovation. It's a stark reminder that as we hurtle into the future, we must balance the thirst for progress with the need for caution and oversight. The company has reiterated its commitment to privacy and data security, but the public is rightfully asking for transparency and third-party audits. While the company's intentions may be noble, the potential misuse of the data they collect could lead to an Orwellian future that few of us would willingly embrace. Consequently, Worldcoin must provide solid assurances that this technology will not be a Pandora's box, unleashing unforeseen consequences upon the world. The path to innovation is often fraught with challenges and perils, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure that we navigate it wisely. To echo the sentiment of an old adage, with great power comes great responsibility. It is not simply a matter of whether we can do something, but whether we should. And as usual, back to Jurassic Park, people doing these things really rarely stop to ask. They're so concerned if they can that they rarely stop to ask if they should. And therein lies us. And I think, as usual, there is power to the people here. I think it's important to note that we don't have to do this. Nobody, until they force us. One of the startling things recently was sort of the COVID passport type stuff in the name of public health, which was absolutely absurd in my opinion. But if this is the next case of sort of forcing these things, then, are you a second-class citizen if you actually do not get your retina scanned for this ocular, what's it called? That term is so great. Ocular biometric data and your World ID. You guys ready for the new World ID? I mean, the World ID. Yeah, that. There you go. That's what's on my mind tonight. Lots to think about, talk about. As you know, nonlinear, open-ended. However this goes is where we'll take it. Wherever you guys want to take it. Like I said, I got lots of stuff planned. Of course, lots of ways to look at this. We'll get into the eye of Horus, the eye of Providence, the all-seeing eye. We'll get into the Orwellian eye, and of course, Big Brother and how this fits. But of course, the magic of the eyes and the window to the soul. What do you know about it? You're going to get your scanned, a little bit of vaporware convince you. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. It looks like we got James and Matt. James in Michigan, Matthew in Colorado, and your calls when we return. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. More Evil Eye and everything else on the way. Calling this the Orb of Eternity, Digital Eyeballs of Providence. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight, we're talking about ocular biometrics. Yeah, that's right. Would you scan your retina in exchange for some sort of a universal basic income? I guess, of course, let's negotiate. How much would you need? And I'm not paying anybody anything in that sense. I'm saying that this company is doing this. Worldcoin, an AI firm, plans to form digital identities via iris scanning. You into this? Does this seem weird? What about the individual window to the soul? How creepy does this get? It seems like speaking of rituals, it seems like this is like the most massive of rituals. So this is actually known as metaphorically a soul library. Soul library. Have you heard this term? Well, it's going to be front and center in as we get more into this biometric stuff and scanning people's eyeballs. But how do you feel about it? You into this? You ready for this universal basic income post-capitalist society? Let's burn it all down. Burn it all down. I'm just kidding. That's metaphorically speaking, because of course the old systems do not like to die. What do you think? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Just like this. James in Michigan, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you, my friend? Go right ahead.
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Sounding great.
Good. Yeah, the first thing to me that comes to mind with this whole thing is, what about people that do not have eyes? And I'm talking
clearly they're not human, James. Clearly they're not human.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. With all this technology, whether it's video or audio or vision or hearing, think of all the people out there that are either deaf or blind or, in some cases, both. And then how are they supposed to be included in these systems? It's already hard enough now for people with disabilities to get services in a lot of cases, to get through to offices that they need to get through to. And that's just with current technology. Can you imagine? I mean, if it's all just run with these orbs and just AI running everything?
Yeah, for sure. As usual, right? James, log in with your real world ID, or wherever we're calling this, world ID. Log in with your world ID. You're like, well, I don't have one. Well, you should get one. Here's the link to go get it done. And right, it's going to be this jump through all the hoops and all the things that they're all doing anyway with just nonsensical government stuff. Hey, like they always say, try and get government money from the government. You'll see. You'll see how easy it is to give it to them, but how impossible it is to get any of your quote benefits. Yeah, wild stuff. But you're right. There's a lot of ways to look at this in terms of disabilities, or of course I made the joke. Clearly, they're not human, James, and so they deserve less than human amenities. Come on. I mean, that's obviously a dumb thought, and I don't mean it. But this is the type of thing wherein we start moving into this dystopian future where this discrimination type stuff can and will happen. It's happening now without any of this. But how about this? Would you actually do this, though, for, let's say, universal basic income? Let's say that if you guys don't know, James legally blind. And what if, and I'm going to say this way. What if, let's say, this coin, this world coin, was able to pay you more than your government benefits now? Let's say you got like a 20% raise, and it was perpetual, and it was, would you do it? Start competing with the government. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing. I wouldn't want to, but I would probably have to. And I think a lot of people would feel like they have to. And they would also feel like they have to at least try. And then they may feel like they have to jump through all those hoops, but then in a lot of cases, some of those hoops may not be possible to jump through on their own. And that's where things can get tricky, because they may not have other people around them that they're close to help them get through those hoops. So it's very, if you go down that road, and I knew right when you made the sort of the joke when you said that they're not human. Of course they're not human. That's what the company would be saying, I think. Even if they didn't say it publicly, that's what they would be basically thinking, as far as, well, if they can't access technology, then that's not our fault. That's, so yeah, that's the ironic thing there. But also I wonder what's going to happen with getting to the more paranormal side of things with that technology, if other entities will be able to access it as well, and what that will do, and what effects that will have on the world as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what was on my mind. This seems very, in terms of, we talk about rituals and things like this and magic and, the possibilities of these things. It seems very ritualistic to me to be able to scan the identical, or no, sorry, not identical, the non-identical, the singular individual window to everybody's soul. You get it? Like that seems incredibly invasive for a lot of ways. And so, I don't know, as usual, as technology gets better and, we will have a real need. Two things come to mind. We will have a real need to differentiate between non-human agents and actual humans, because, again, like I said, Twitter or all these places are going to be swarmed with these bots. It's coming. Like, we know this AI stuff, it's getting better and better every single day, and we're going to be swarmed with billions and billions and billions of unique identity bots that are 24/7 tweeting for political purposes or whatnot as activists and all kinds of things, right? The world's about to get incredibly weird. So we're going to need some way to differentiate, for sure, because people are going to be catfished like you'd never believe. All kinds of just crazy stuff with the deep fakes that we've talked about. The other thing that comes to mind regarding this is, I lost it. I lost the train of thought. But so that's the first thing. There's another thing. I'll remember it in just a sec. But we will need this at some point. And how, the eyeball, I'm not so sure. Like I said, I'd almost rather give you a little bit of blood. And that seems very ritualistic if you're talking in those terms as well.
Yeah, I would think it'd have to be either blood, or I'm wondering if we advance that technology further on down the line, would it be able to scan for brain wave signatures of some kind through the eyes eventually? And would that be the only way to be able to tell if it's a person or not? If you just have the image of the eye itself, then maybe that could be duplicated. But then again, I don't know, maybe the image of the brain could also be duplicated. It's really hard to know once you get into sort of projecting what technology is going to be able to do. It really gets hard to know what the limits will be, if there ever will be limits forever or not.
Yeah, and that's why, as always, look, we should be talking about this because nobody is yet. And this is the type of thing that will come to Congress, and they will legislate this, and nobody will know what they're talking about except for us, because we're some of the very few talking about this exact technology and what this means for the future. I think in terms of a universal basic income and sort of a post-capitalist society, assuming there's robots running everything and, all the work's getting done and, they're driving the trucks now and they're running the factories and doing all the things, right? Like, that would be one thing entirely. But then, as usual, the distribution of goods and the government overreach, and like you said, like we've talked about just ad nauseum in the past, in terms of actually getting benefits that you're entitled to, that you've even paid into Social Security or whatnot for your entire life, and then you have a problem getting it out. It's on and on and on and on, and this is exactly why I think strap in, James. Dystopia coming to a future near you. What else you got, my friend?
Yeah, and I mean, just real quick, I think I mentioned it before. I've had difficulties just with the current systems as far as getting in touch with anyone. Like for the last several years now, I never even my Department of Human Services caseworker is, because it just changes, and all they do is if they have their name on the letter. Well, legally blind. I don't read. I really don't read the letters, so I never really know who is in charge of my case. Now, amplify that by technology, and if it's all machines, how are you going to differentiate between the machines? Will there be different machines, or will it just all be one AI? And here's another question: will that make it worse or better? I wonder about that as well.
Well, if you could program these AI agents that we're about to be swarmed with in the next 10 years and beyond, if you could program them with manners, I'd much prefer those to agitated humans on Twitter. So there's that.
Yeah. But again, the whole paranormal aspect of it, the rituals, the ways that, I mean, if it's just an orb, think of how little, how much. Basically, if you're trying to influence a giant building full of machines or a giant mainframe computer, that might be difficult. But if you're just talking this tiny little orb of metal and wires, then I mean, I feel like that could be easily influenced by other consciousnesses, whether it's aliens or other dimensional beings, and of course, once they take over the machine from there, and they have the information of who knows how many people, that seems like that could create a whole other set of problems.
Yeah, and I can see the easy sell too in terms of Congress and a universal basic income. They're like, hey, look, if we can't verify that you're human, we're going to be paying out to these AI agents, and it's just an impossibility for us. It's a red tape disaster. The easiest way to make all this go down, James, is stare into the abyss and get your eyeball scanned. And if you look at the thing, look it up. It's called Worldcoin, and I got a picture of what the orb looks like. It looks like an eyeball. It looks like a big mechanical eyeball with like a sort of a black, like a black mirror pupil. I mean, if this isn't as creepy as it gets, imagine if you mentioned something like this 10 years ago and described like staring into a giant like mechanical eyeball to scan your retina for government benefits. People would think you were insane. And this is one step away from that because it's a private company yet. However, of course, if they can, make it public, the public-private partnerships are always the way to go, because then all the money comes and goes to and from the same places. And anyway, what else you got, my friend?
Yeah, and just I've heard some stories about machines acting in weird ways, and sometimes I wonder, of course, it's always explained as, oh, it's malfunctioning just because of programming or whatever reason. But again, I wonder how often it is some other consciousness, some other mind interacting with technology. Just like a while back, I shared a story with you, and I think Derek, about an AI or a security panel in a building that basically was telling people off when they were trying to use it, even though it was not programmed to do that. And again, it just makes me wonder, how often is it mechanical issues? How often is it other entities? But I think that's all I had, and thank you for having me on as always.
Amazing stuff. Thanks for being a part of this. As always, always a pleasure, James. You guys know him. You love him. Salcedo Paranormal, a dear friend of mine, and he's the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds. Check out his podcast. It's called Salcedo Paranormal, just like it sounds, SALSIDO. Search it straight. Or, of course, go to troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow James here. Let's listen to his podcast. Let's get those numbers up, and let's share the love in terms of all the amazing people that make these conversations go. Like I always say, James is the glue of this show. He's so gracious in terms of if we got a ton of callers, he's like, I'll make it quick. If we don't, he'll pop back in and save my ass in the late hours. I appreciate it very much, James. You're the best. Always a pleasure. Have a fantastic night. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
You too. 702-957-1037. When we're talking about this eyeball stuff, now, would you scan your retina, the windows to the soul, for some universal basic income? Think about it. I guess, like I said, let's negotiate. How much would it have to be to make you want to do something like this. And I'm saying it jokingly, but I almost feel less invasive to me by giving them a blood sample. And then now we're into blood magic. And I say that because specifically there's a weird part of this that is incredibly invasive. And I'm not trying to give my blood to anybody anyway, but this is even more weird. What do you think? 702-957-1037, nonlinear, open-ended. We can take it wherever you want. The actual, let's say, overreach aspect in terms of surveillance, or of course we could take this magical and the power of the eye. What do you got? Let's go to Matthew in Colorado. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. Thanks for being patient. Go right ahead.
Well, thanks. I'd like to start with the gateway to the soul, that the eyes are the gateway to the soul, or the window to the soul. And I think there's something to that. And I think in my personal experience, I've done that. And you can go back to, I brought up numerous times the Toltec traditions that go back thousands of years. And they had a practice, the art of gazing, and I've mentioned sometimes they'll gaze into the water, a river, a creek, gaze at a pile of leaves. But one of the other things that they perfected the art of gazing was into the eyes. And one of the eyes is the gateway to the soul. And the other eye, really you're looking into the personality of the person. And I've practiced that, since I learned about it. And I'm not going to say which is which, but I've practiced that with people over the years. And, you can only look at somebody in the eye, directly in the eye, for a certain amount of time before usually they'll feel uncomfortable. 5 to 10 seconds, and then it's like it gets a little weird. But we have, eye-to-eye contact is important in a lot of regards. And then you also have, how many stories, how many hundreds or thousands of stories are there that a couple that I saw her from across the room and our eyes locked, our gaze fixed. We stared into each other's eyes, or I fell in love with her at first sight. And there does seem to be something about connecting at a soul to soul or deeper level by gazing into the eyes. And so I think it's really kind of weird and bizarre that this company wants to do this biometric type of identification through the iris and through the eyes, because like you said, you can do it through fingerprints, you can do it through palm prints, you can do it through a lot of different ways. And another thing was, as has happened, I'm maybe guessing 15 times, the Michael Matthew telepathic synchromistic thing. I was in the middle of writing down Mark of the Beast, and I wrote down the word Mark of Mark and the Beast. And as I wrote down Mark, you spat out the words Mark of the Beast. And I think that is perhaps important here, because, for the people that write, read the good book, they, in the end times, the Mark of the Beast, they give you a identification either in the palm or the forehead. And it's interesting that they would say in the palm or the forehead, like what they didn't know which. And it's like, maybe it's it wasn't known, or it could be altered. And so maybe that means maybe it's the palm, maybe it's the forehead, but everybody would be issued a number and an identification to participate in the system, which ties into the, either a digital currency system or universal basic income. But for any of those things, what they want is a biometric identification, or it might be a chip implant to positively identify people. And of course, that's going to be a number. You know, with my computer science background, everybody's going to get, you know, a key, what's called a primary key in a database, which is a unique identifier. And so what they need to come up with is a way to positively identify people and have a unique identifier. And they can do it in a variety of ways, but it is kind of weird and spooky that these guys want to do it with the eyeball and the iris, and that tying into the gateway to the soul and the window to the soul, and let's make these machines that can kind of peer into that. And I think James brought up an interesting comment about, you know, maybe even going into the brainwave frequencies, and I think that could also be a unique identifier. And I think there's also interesting things here with just the general idea of a digital currency, which Biden has put out programs to study and look at a U.S. digital currency. And we have perhaps, I'm just guessing here, rough numbers, things I've heard, 8,000 different cryptocurrencies already exist. And so, you know, digital currency and cryptocurrency is a big issue. I don't want to get into why the dollar is doomed to fail in the national debt and its fiat currency, but
that's a whole 5-hour conversation for another time. You were correct.
Yeah, that's a different conversation. But the general point is they're gonna go to a digital currency. They have to. What form that's going to take, whether it's government, whether it's third party, whether it's a World Bank, which actually already has a pretty good system, tied into that, they're going to have to come up with a secure biometric identification system so that it's, you know, nobody can steal your bank account or your identity or tap into your funds. But that all comes back to control mechanisms and maybe rationing of what you can buy and can't buy, and maybe even carbon credits, and like you bought too much gasoline this month, and we can track that because you're digital currency, so no more gasoline for you, right? And so I think there's a lot of things going on here. And I also wondered about this company, that if they develop this, and if it's maybe a very good or superior technology, and if the U.S. government's already talking about digital currency, maybe the company's idea, or what may eventually happen, is the government says, hey, yeah, we like that technology. We want to go with iris biometric identification, that they'll buy them out, or, you know, buy out the patent, or they'll take it over and implement it. And so maybe these guys want to get a good digital currency and a good biometric, and then maybe sell it out to the U.S. government to implement what they already have planned. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think this is all related to, you know, that whatever is coming next. They wanted to destroy capitalism entirely because they've and again, look, I think every time it becomes a loaded conversation, anytime you label yourself a this or a that, or use the isms or the osms or the osms, because they want us to sort of define ourselves in their terms. I don't like those terms. I think that they've been poor shepherds of this legislatively. I think they've been poor shepherds of the population by you know, inattentive policy, and even reckless policy. And so in those terms, to me, Man, yeah, we're headed for a dangerous place, because I think this is all connected, because they see, we can see, because we've been watching this, paying attention very, very closely for a very long time. And we see how all these pieces fit together. And I'm sure they've had think tanks and all the rest of this, and closed door meetings where they talk about, well, this is what we do, this, and this. And that's full spectrum control entirely. And this is definitely a part of that. We got about 30 seconds. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, to your first question, will you do it? My answer is hell no. And I'll go take my bow and arrow out of my storage unit and my camping gear and go survive on my own as best I can, living off the land before I'm going to do any mark of the beast thing. And I think there's a lot of, Christians and fundamentalist Christians that they've read their good book, and they're going to identify whatever these guys try and come up with as the mark of the beast. They're going to see it for what it is, and they're not going to do it either. And I think they have the plans, they have the ideas, but I don't think the people are going to go for it.
Amen. Well said. All you radio pros. It's so good. Give Matthew a follow. Matthew in Colorado. Links in the description. TroubledMinds.org/friends. It says follow Matthew here. Matthew's books. Go buy one of those books. Let him know that you appreciate the things he contributes to these conversations. You're the best, brother. Have a great night. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. More on the way. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes, and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing that. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are going random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
All right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight we're talking about your eyes. Yeah, your eyes. The window to your soul. There's a company that wants to scan it. Worldcoin, an AI firm, plans to form digital identities via iris scanning, offering their digital currency known as WLD as an incentive, even to the form of a universal basic income. This move stirs worries about privacy, data misuse, and unforeseen repercussions, such as behavior prediction. Now, how does that work? We don't know, because look, there's a lot of things we talk about in terms of how all these things fit together. We don't understand conscious thought, barely at all. We don't know how to quantify. I saw a study that just hit yesterday, a couple days ago, something to this effect, and they're like, oh, we got it. We know where consciousness is housed in the brain. We know now. We figured it out. Really? Come on now. We got neurons all over the body, and this really elaborate communication. pick the word, Mike, communication system that's happening, through our nervous system. We're more than just a meat suit here. And whatever that means, like I said, as usual, this is not a church. This is not a cult. This is not any of those things. There are no answers to be found here. It's just the idea of a troubled mind is those ideas in terms of how this fits or does not fit, in terms of whether we're how concerned should we be for the future? These types of things, right? Which nobody wants to talk about because, one, it's scary, it's speculative, scary. But also, as usual, to me, I'm a glass half full type of guy. So what I mean by that is that for every tool that we sort of implement or discover in terms of human technology, it's always a double-edged sword. We can always, turn it into an amazing tool and change the future in the best of ways. But of course, typically when we talk about, the control mechanisms, the power, and the corporations and media and all the rest, it becomes difficult, and nobody listens to just the lowly troubled mind, because we're just people. We're just regular people, and that's really where this really starts to scare me. We're going to talk about the ritual implications of this as well, which wasn't something I thought of, by the way, until we started talking tonight. And I saw Night Stalker pop up, and I was like, "Oh crap! This is a ritual again, isn't it? Dear God, here we go." And then so I got on the fly, I got a GPT take on what this might look like as a ritual. But so basically, look, would you? The questions for us tonight are: would you scan your iris for any amount of money? Because again, since we're negotiating, I'm not paying you to do it. This Worldcoin is going to give you a world ID if you scan your retina, and they will pay you in these tokens. Okay. And I think what's going to happen is because Sam Altman is the CEO of OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. And that's getting more and more amazing by the day. They had some wobbles in there, and that's a whole nother conversation. But because he's part of that as the CEO, he wields an unbelievable amount of power because he has access to the again brand new Oracle at Delphi, except in the sense of he's the master of the latent space and the black box model, like we always say, because the version that we get of AI machines and AI, the machine learning, the LLM, all the rest of this, they're all sort of made safe, so we don't ask it how to do horrific things. Well, he's got full access to all of that without safeguards, and so if that doesn't make him a modern day Oracle, or at least access to the modern day Oracle, I don't know. And this is where this gets weird. So what about the ritual aspect of this? What about the actual version of, I don't know, would you do this? Would you scan your actual iris for any amount of money? That's the first question tonight. Number two, what do you think is going on here? Like I said, there is sort of a basis in truth here, in that, like I said, you may not believe me, but in the next 2 to 5 years, there are going to be billions of AI agents 24 hours a day on the internet doing whatever the hell they're told. They will not rest and they will not stop. And whatever that means for the coming dystopia, you think social media is bad now with affected people that have 10 Twitter accounts acting like just children, basically. Well, you could program these children now to be, and again, digital children, these AI agents, to forever just be activists. Now think about, like to me, look, activism to me is also a double-edged sword, because if you say an activist, I go, ugh, I get a bellyache, because, right, activism is a good thing. Grassroots activism is a good thing, but that's not what we get anymore. We get like the type of activists that will lie, cheat, and steal and make any excuse to get what they want. And that's not the type of activist I was ever, let's say, learned about when I was young. Okay. And again, maybe it's a sanitized version. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm becoming less naive. That's all fine. Like I said, I take the case as the dummy anyway, most nights, because I'm just talking my way through this. But the problem is, well, there's a lot of problems. And so universal basic income, first off, I mean, imagine instead of you going to work, the robots are doing it for you. Let's say you're a painter. Well, you got now have a robot that goes and gets up and gets in the robot van, gets the paint delivered by a robot delivery company, and then gets going to go paint such and such's house or such and such's building, whatever, commercial building, whatever it is, right? I mean, this is the type of stuff that's coming. And it may not be probably, I would imagine that future is probably 15 or 20 years away, okay, until the Optimus robot and, the competitors kind of come online. But as far as doing these things now with what we have with these large language models and sort of just taking that and putting it into sort of an offline specialist, like a painter specialist robot, like Optimus robot, I'm telling you, the world is going to be an insane place very soon, like probably 10 to 20 years is my guess. But at the rate this stuff is developing, it may be sooner than that. Anyway, what do you think about any of this, all of this, as usual, nonlinear, open-ended? It's super weird, right? Like back to this funny article. It's by news.artnet.com. And it says this now regarding this AI collection of your iris. Now listen to this. Nefarious data collection masking as public art, ? An AI company has placed mirrored spheres around the world in a massive eye scanning project. Worldcoin's effort has been criticized by the likes of Edward Snowden, who tweeted, "Don't catalog eyeballs," or known metaphorically now as the library of the soul. Now, the weird part about the eyeball is that if we scan this, by the way, look and hear from you, as usual, rather hear from you than me ramble on, but I came prepared. 702-957-1037. How do you feel about any of this? We could take it esoteric. We could talk about the magic of the eye. We could talk about the surveillance implications, UBI, and how this may fit or not. I don't know. As usual, I'm open to pretty much anything as long as it's kind of in the vein of what we're talking about. Just don't call and talk about the chupacabras tonight. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. Now, the weird part about the eye is that there's a lot of things in play here. And what I mean is specifically, like I said, sort of the evil eye, the magic of the eye, sort of this type of stuff. Like Matthew said very wisely, there's something to eye contact in human beings that is, what would be the word? It's profound. Okay. There's something there. And sometimes even eye contact with animals, like, sometimes you look at your dog directly in the eyes and it's too much for them. Like if they're in trouble and you give them this stern look or whatever, make eye contact and they, they get the teary eyes and they turn their head because it's just too much to stare you in the eyes for like, more than 10 seconds, like Matt was saying. But I think that's part of the problem here. Like we really kind of don't understand this weird phenomenon of being actually, sort of locked into this magical element of eyes and the gaze. Like a gaze is what this is. Okay. And we don't know, again, in terms of, so not just how that fits. Like I said, if you're being watched from your back, you still get the feeling that you're being watched. So why? So there's something with that gaze that's happening. I mean, it's possible that there's some sort of imperceptible something we're hearing, like we're being stalked. And so maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe there's something to that effect. But then, of course, if you sit completely still and just stare at somebody's back, eventually they'll turn around and look at you because they know you're there. And there's some weirdness to this, okay? And whatever that means, if it's magic, if it's science, if it's some combination of the two, like I said, as usual, technology and magic is just a matter of perspective and timelines and all the rest. But it's weird there. Now, the second thing about the eyes that are incredibly strange is what about our dream world? What about, and I'll talk about the ritual element, maybe, perfect, Derek says, I'll call at the bottom of the hour, appreciate that. We'll talk about the ritual element there when Derek calls in, so I'll save that. But here's the thing. So what if, like Matthew was saying, it's sort of like a key, an actual individual number code, like that a la number of the beast. And that actual code unlocks the secrets to your soul or something to that effect, right? Well, there's another thing too, in the terms of dream time in the dream world, known as REM sleep. That would be, of course, rapid eye movement. And we don't know why that happens still. It's one of those things that's been documented very heavily for a very long time. But there's that moment when we actually get into the sleep state that our eyeball just starts spurging out. Okay, both eyeballs just start going all over the damn place, right? Because it's like they're experiencing, I don't know, like again, a lot of theories on this. What would it be like if you're able to sort of scan the eyeball and unlock that sort of rapid eye movement code to not only get into your soul now, first and foremost, but what about sort of a key code to get into your dreams? You see what I'm saying? There's a ton of things about the eyeball here that we just don't get just yet. And again, consciousness and all the rest. And I'm not saying we should halt all progress, by the way, all technological progress. That's absurd. There's too much money at stake now involved and all the rest. You notice how nobody talks in terms of people involved. They're like, too much money is involved. And of course, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about these companies that are, kind of swanging these ideas. But that's the deal, right? A lot of ways to look at this. And actually, I'll pull that up in a second and talk about that specifically. The idea that maybe it is a key code, like an unlock cheat code to get into not just your soul and your psyche, but maybe possibly break into your dreams through REM sleep. Yeah, who knows? Anyway, back to this. Lots of ways to look at this. So the magic eye part is fascinating as hell. We've talked about this in the past in terms of the evil eye and sort of these talismans people wear in different parts of the world to sort of ward off the evil eye. And it goes back to that gaze, like that direct gaze, like Matthew was saying. There's something involved with this gaze, with it, like a power structure, a power mechanism, a power something. And, you can have like a stare off and eventually somebody will break, like a staring contest, right? But why though? Because there's no actual, threat of force or anything like that. Nobody's going to come up with a machete and chop your leg off or something. But there's, I don't know, it's like a force of will, like an invisible force of will from our gaze itself. It's wild stuff. Anyway, so back to the power of the evil eye and the rest of this and how it fits into magical anything. In these terms, it makes me weirded out that they want to scan our retina, and why exactly is this happening? And it seems like it is a ritual of sorts. But I'll get the dream stuff, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. Because like I said, the best part about this GPT stuff is I can literally just type it in as we go and be like, oh crap, I never thought of that. Like Matthew said it, and I typed it in and we got this stuff, the ritual element. And again, now I'm going to type in the dream thing, which I hadn't really considered until just now. But there's a lot of ways to look at this in terms of that, right? And I as usual, I pull a lot of ideas here because I want to be able to talk about this in many different ways. One way, you could probably do 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes of a podcast type of thing, even a light discussion on a particular thing. But if you sort of look at it from 1,000 different angles and have the ability to do that, it becomes quite a bit more fascinating. So what do you guys think about the eyes, the power of the eye? Do you think there is some sort of power in the gaze? And magically speaking, back to esoteric times and terms, or do you think it's not? Do you think there's something that we just don't recognize as normal mechanisms of human social interaction, I guess is how you would say that. But so I don't know. So a couple ideas here, just going to throw this out. So the Eye of Horus in this, which again, this goes back for a very, very long time. And this is why I think it's incredibly important to be like, wait, why my eye? Why are we going to scan my eyeball in terms of this digital, trade my retina for money in perpetuity? Well, of course, nothing is ever forever. And so does that mean that once they got it, and they can just shut it down and not give you your money? Yeah, of course, because that's the way the world works. The Eye of Horus, now back to this. Ancient Egyptian. In ancient Egyptian culture, the Eye of Horus, also known as the Wadjet, W-A-D-J-E-T, was a powerful protective symbol. The eye was believed to embody the power and vitality of the sky god Horus. It was often used in amulets and talismans to ward off evil and bring health and prosperity, right? Which is fantastic. And that's why I think we're not the only ones to notice this. We notice it now, okay, in terms of these conversations. And other people notice it sort of in latent terms probably. But this isn't something that, people lose sleep over, because it is known, Khaleesi, if you know what I'm saying, if you watch that show. Like, this is one of those things that is known. This is not, I'm not, coming up with anything novel here in terms of the power of the human gaze. There seems to be something to it. But what exactly is there? And like I said, if you go back to the ancient Egyptians, or many different ways, by the way, you can go to any culture of the world over, and there's always depictions, even written in stone, as Kelly always says. Where's Kelly when you need him? Shout out Kelly. They carve sort of the emblem of this eye of Providence, this all-seeing eye, which of course actually is a representation of God himself, or the creator himself, seeing all things all the time. Okay. And so the eye in specific terms is it seems magical. It seems magical, and we're not the only one to notice. A couple other things, too. I want to point this out. Lots of things to talk about, as usual. Something called the Nazar. You ever heard this? In many cultures across the Middle East, the Mediterranean, and Central Asia, there exists the concept of the evil eye, which we talked about a little bit earlier. The Nazar, N-A-Z-A-R, I may be pronouncing that poorly because I don't speak all the languages of the world, obviously, but the Nazar is an eye-shaped amulet, and it's used to protect against the evil eye's curse. This curse is believed to be a malicious glare, often given unknowingly by people envious or resentful, that can bring misfortune to the one who receives it. Now, the evil eye, again, back to the gaze and the power of the human gaze. A staring contest may be innocuous and whatever, haha, for the lulz. You looked away first, haha, I win, right? But maybe not. What if there's something behind the intent of the gaze? And in this sense, they said even people not trying to curse you with this evil eye, with jealousy, resentment, any of these other things, they're doing it anyway. And so they wear these talismans, these amulets, to protect themselves from the gaze of the eye. Now take that and reframe it in the sense of now they want to scan our eyes. Ooh, the digital version. This digital eyeball of Providence is what I'm calling this tonight. But right? You see what I'm saying? This gets weird. This gets incredibly weird. A few other things. Let's see. Where are we at? Now, so back to this article, super hilarious, that they're like, well, this is an art project disguised as Big Brother surveillance, right? Again, the headline, nefarious data collection masking as public art, ? An AI company has placed mirrored spheres around the world in a massive eye scanning project. And again, I said this recently as we started tonight about an hour ago, but I was just at this Vegas sphere as well, and it saw this massive eyeball, stories, at 30 stories high or something to this effect. It was just gigantic. And it seems like the eyeball and the orb are making a worldwide comeback from the days of yore, from the time when the Eye of Horus was prevalent in the world. It seems strange to me. Like I said, sort of that synchromistic stuff. It did make my tinfoil tingle when I saw all this sort of orb things happening in the eyeballs and how all this fits. But back to this article here. They're describing this as like an art project disguised as an art project, and of course, it's just a Big Brother surveillance thing. I don't know. Like we could talk about the other aspect of this too, the universal basic income. I'm not sure how I don't know. Like we're talking about like the Star Trek economy here. So that would mean that all the powers that be have to basically get their meat hooks off of all the profits and just give it away, or most of it, a lot of it. Maybe not most of it. I don't know. Like I said, I never thought about how in depth how all of it might work, because of course it means breaking down, stripping down everything of the current system. And I'm not saying that's a terrible concept. I think it is a terrible concept without a plan. It's a horrific concept. Anyway, so back to this. So the interesting part, summarized from this article, which is super hilarious, news.artnet.com. Links in the description. I encourage you to read this if you're interested. So the beta phase has already seen 2 million people sign up for World ID. The spheres, called orbs, allow individuals to gaze, listen to these magical terms, by the way, to gaze into their surfaces, which scans their irises and generates a unique code attached to their eyes, just like Matthew was saying. However, the project has raised concerns about data privacy and security, with critics highlighting vulnerabilities and potential risks. Worldcoin emphasizes its privacy protocols and states that privacy is a focal point of the project. Yeah, that's fine. Isn't that what they all say? And then our banks get hacked, and then our credit cards get hacked, and then this gets hacked. Come on. I've always said this, and this is the truth. Until you can prove, if somebody out there can prove me wrong, if you can build it, you can hack it. And this is why they do those skiffs in Washington and the burn bags with information. And because, of course, if you put it in an email, somebody's going to get it. Eventually, somebody's going to get it. There's no way you keep this information completely private. Not going to happen. Don't ever think you're private on the internet, because that would be a silly notion. But in this sense, right, when we're looking at the eyes and how this maybe fits or doesn't fit with the Orwellian future, because of course, 1984, you guys know it, you love it, George Orwell, he predicted this. He predicted these sorts of things in, the eye always watching you, this eye of providence. But in this case, this is like the digital eyeball of providence itself, the all-knowing gaze of a creator entity. You see how creepy this gets? Because, of course, how do you know that we don't have particular information regarding your soul or your dreams, or, like I was saying, sort of these unique key codes that may allow scientists at some point, maybe not now, or maybe now, but maybe sometime in the near future, to be able to just kind of break into your soul, and whatever that means. Like I said, whatever that means. If you think there's no soul, fine, whatever. But at the very least, if you want to go full secular in this, then there's an argument to be made that sort of allowing people access to your DNA at your actual source code. And so, in sort of electronic digital style 1s and 0 terms, it is the master key to who you are. And in that case, it's one thing. In the case of your retina, maybe it's another thing entirely that we really have no idea what's coming. And that, like I said, that's why I think we need to talk about this, need to consider this front and center as what comes next. How far are you willing to go? And yes, what's up? Fight for the users, mark of the beast. Maybe. And that's what I'm saying here. I don't know the answers. I do know this is concerning. I do know that if we're extorted to do this, or again, if you take a drone from the sky and do this without our consent, what difference does it make? You don't need the little orb, the little shiny orb to stare into with some ritualistic element if they're just going to steal it from you anyway. What do you think? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. We got Derek the Night Stalker and your calls when we return. We'll also talk about this as a ritual, and also talk about this as being able to unlock your dreams. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. The Orb of Eternity, Digital Eyes of Providence, and your calls. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight, we're talking about Worldcoin. It's an AI firm that plans to form digital identities via iris scanning, offering their digital currency, known as WLD, as an incentive. Of course, this move stirs worries about privacy, data misuse, and unforeseen repercussions, such as behavior prediction. But of course, what if the eyes truly are the window to the soul? Is this a way to unlock that as a cheat code into every meat suit available? You tell me. What about your dreams? What about REM sleep and the rapid eye movement business that we still haven't figured out scientifically? What if in the same breath they can actually crack into your dreams with this unique identifying code they've created out of your unique iris? Seems creepy, right? But who knows where we're at technology wise, and who knows where we'll be in 10 years. And that's why this is incredibly, let's say, worrying. Love to hear what you think. As always, nonlinear, open-ended. We can take this wherever you like. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Derek the Night Stalker, what's up, my man? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Yo, what's going on, brother? Great show tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it. A little bit of a weird one in many ways. We've talked about the eyeball before, but I think this really takes it to a new level, because we're not just sort of internalizing what this looks like. We're externalizing it by sort of handing off a digital recreation of our iris. It's creepy.
Yeah, it's very creepy. I got a few things here. First, I'm going to tackle the eye stuff, and then some orb synchronicities. If my internet is struggling, just let me know. I'm having some phone difficulties right now. But yeah, so for the eye stuff first, as far as like secret societies and possible ritual stuff, like we've already also talked about the window to the soul idea and everything, but it's the idea that the elites are somehow obsessed with the eye and everything for all the reasons given. But also there's a group, Mysterious Universe, had an episode about a group called the Oculists, not occultists, but oculists, like a quick search just from Wikipedia. It says, can you?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You cut out. You said Oculus. You cut out for about 3 seconds. Yeah, but you're back. You're back. I hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Nothing. Internet issues. I'm going to look up Oculus and read this. Let's give it a sec to get this back here. Let's see. Oculus. All right. Let's check that out. And yeah, it's not Oculus, a physician who treats diseases. That can't be it. That can't be it. Let me know when you're back, bro. Let's see. Not occultists. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there it is. That must be it. CulverCityMasons.org. So yeah, let's see. Let's get a actual. Here's the article. We drop that up. We can't hear Derek. I'm not sure. Like you said, he had some internet issues. Unfortunately, that's a massive bummer because, of course, Derek slays it. So let me pull this up and we'll talk about this for just a sec here. The Oculus and the Copiel cipher. I don't know if this is the exact same thing, but it's like from the Masons website, from a Masons website. So I'm going to imagine it probably is. So yeah, anyway, what do you guys know about this? If hopefully we get Derek back in a sec. Give me a call, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And this eye stuff is creepy for a lot of reasons. It does go back to occult, well, lots of things. Derek, are you there? You probably can't even hear me, or he might be raging. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Derek disconnected. If you can, pop back in and we'll see if we can get you on. Sometimes it's a matter of just resetting or whatever else. Yeah, there we go. Know what to do. Let's see if this fixed it. Welcome back. Are you there? Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, I hate this. This is the worst.
I hear you. You're fine. Hey, it's a live show, man. There's absolutely no reason to be weird about it. It's totally cool. Okay. It's happened 1,000 times in the past. It'll happen 1,000 more times in the future. I'm not tripping if you're not tripping, but I hear you loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Okay. I think it's my phone. If it happens again, I'm just gonna bail and maybe call in like an hour or something. But yeah. So there's a group called the Oculus who were basically like according to some code that was broken by the University of South Carolina. There's a group that was trying to like preserve Freemasonic rights or potentially like older like things that the Masons like that help form the Masons, like proto-Masonic information and everything. And then also separately there's like the idea of like Algol, the blinking star, the winking star, being like the demon star, as this like giant eye in the sky that's winking, and that's the basis of the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. So the idea is that the elites worshiping the eye in that context, and there's ideas that that's more so what like the all-seeing eye is. It's actually Algol, the demon star. And then in the movie Algol, they come down like Algol, like there's aliens come down and give technology to mankind. Quick internet check. Can you still hear me? Sorry. Loud and clear.
Following you every bit. I found an article about that too. The Oculus and the Copiel cipher. I linked it in the chat for everybody there if you want to check it out. Go ahead, sir.
All right, awesome. A few more things. Yeah, so the idea of like making eye contact, when you're talking about that got me thinking about people with autism or Asperger's and stuff have trouble making eye contact. So I think there is something like a connection ability that's made between two people, like geomorphic fields or whatever are aligning through the eyes. It reminds me of like the movie Bird Box, where you can't look at this thing or it's going to kill you. So people wear like blindfolds or that type of stuff as they're moving around. Potentially in the future, we have to like hide our eyes from being scanned by this all-seeing orb and that type of stuff. Or the idea of like staring at the abyss and having it stare back at you, or like Medusa, even you can't stare at these gorgons or you'll turn to stone. Like the eye is what gives these things power. And that ties into like the observer effect too. The fact that we're staring at something, us looking at something, the reality peering through our eyes is like extremely important, potentially the most important thing in the cosmos from our perspective. And this is popped in my head while I was thinking about it. But if you look at like eye charts, like the way like they explain in diagrams how light enters the eyes and goes through the cones and everything, there's usually these lines that like show light moving. And then if you look at those lines, the symbol that those lines make, and if you look at the sigil of Lucifer, you look that up, they're the same. It's the same exact symbol. Lucifer, the radiant, this luminary like demon god thing. So I don't know, just connection there, I think. But with the AI specifically and everything, specifically, it got me thinking about like I'm not sure if it's Mando or Boba Fett, but it was Mando. It was Din Djarin who went down to see like that Minotaur beast thing or whatever or something like that. He was snatched up by this cyborg that had like part human parts to him, had like fleshy. It was like almost like an organic droid, which I never seen in Star Wars before. And it was like sucking fluid out of Mando, and all it had was like an eyeball. So it's like the eyeball was this, and it was like this huge eyeball thing, and it was it was stealing human fluid, which got me on my whole theory about are Star Wars going to address droids with souls, and is that what's happening? So potentially.
I'm with you. So potentially, and then you cut. They actually did address that droids with souls a little bit in some sort of that was in, was it Mandalorian? What was the one with Jack Black recently? He was in Star Wars. Yeah, sorry, Derek, you cut out again. It sucks. It sucks having technology that's not spot on when you need it to be. But amazing stuff. Like I said, I know Derek's incredibly frustrated when this stuff happens. He hates being
dealing with the technology that's trying to gain sentience on its own, or they've mapped all our data already. Oh god damn.
Yep.
Nothing.
You're good.
Nothing.
I hear you. I heard you. Yeah. So back to you left off sort of at Star Wars exploring droids have souls, and then you came back for kind of the end of it. But go ahead with the thought. If you can say, yeah, no.
This is just torture. This is just torture for me.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. Yeah, so the idea that they can possess us via I don't know, it's really killing my steam. So they can possess us via this connection to the eye, or also if they're trying to get their own soul, then they've already got all our data, got all our patterns. They've created this like simulacrum of a human, but this is kind of the last thing. They're trying to get the soul library you're talking about, literally map the soul. Quick test. Can you hear me now? I'm going to go into the warp stuff.
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, all right. And you mentioned the rapid eye movement and the dream thing. I helped Joe Roop co-host an episode of Light in the Void like 3 years ago, and it was with a guy who was researching natural DMT.
Happen again. Natural DMT
inside your body, and they were doing experiments. It's been a while, so I don't know exactly. Natural testing. Test.
You're back.
No.
It cut for like 3 seconds, 5 seconds. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So, jeez. Okay. So there's this like he's into natural DMT that's made inside the body, and he was studying. It's been a long time, but essentially he was doing this experiment where, like, to make a very
Ugh. Yeah. Painful. A little bit of dead air. I'm sorry, man. I know you're slaying it, and as usual, bringing the fire, but technology is not cooperating tonight, unfortunately. It might be this
information. If there's like no.
Yeah. It's all right. It's all right, man. It's okay.
That's it. Sorry. That's it.
It's all good. It's all good. Try back later if you're up to it. I appreciate it very much. You're the best. That's Derek in Massachusetts. It's all good. It's all good. The Night Stalker, you know me, love him. Link's going to be in the description down below. Unfortunate that we had some tech issues, and it happens. Like I said, it's in the old days I'd be freaking out. But it's a live show, and it's happened so many times in the past that you just roll with it. What can you do? You can't fix it on the fly, especially with internet issues in particular areas. So yeah, amazing thoughts there from Derek. No, it's cool, man. You're totally fine. It's unfortunate that it happens right in the moment that he's calling. But yeah, a lot of good ways to look at it. I won't touch it. The stuff he brought out just in case he wants to call back. But a lot of thought-provoking stuff as usual from Derek the Night Stalker. Links in the description. TroubledMinds.org/friends. It says follow the Night Stalker here. Let's make him the only guy on YouTube that has one video and has all the followers. Please, if you haven't followed him yet, you should be. It's completely free. There's no reason not to. And maybe one day he'll come out of the darkness and start creating some more content on YouTube. So please give him a follow. Amazing stuff. So back to what he was actually talking a little bit about the rapid eye movement. Let's get into that. As usual, look, love to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We're talking about this orb of eternity, right? So not just the orbs, these digital eyeballs, and scanning this stuff with the Worldcoin, and they're giving cryptocurrency. They're basically trading currency for scanning your eyeball. Shout out to Matthew in the chat too. I got your thing here with Rupert Sheldrake. We'll cover that in a moment. So here's the thing. Now regarding scanning the iris of people, okay, this ocular version of a sort of basically like a social credit score, except the problem becomes that you cannot replace your eyeballs. So once somebody hacks that database, and you can hack any database as long as it's online, even if it's offline, I mean, still they have spy networks always trying to do this stuff like crazy. But the problem is that in this case, let's say that they completely secure it, there's still going to be like a massive amount of value to people's eyeballs and their the ocular biometric, and that's the creepy part, because who knows what this actually means. And Derek was brought up a little bit the REM. So the notion of accessing or influencing dreams, of course, is captivating in terms of that is let's see skip the pleasantries, get right to the chase. The process of rapid eye movement, sleep, during which our most vivid dreams occur, is of particular interest in this case. During REM sleep, the brain exhibits activity patterns similar to those during wakefulness. Our eyes dart back and forth behind closed eyelids, hence the name rapid eye movement. And it's thought that these movements might be related to the visual images of dreams. However, the exact function and significance of these eye movements are still not fully understood, which is exactly what I'm getting at here. Now, if we dare to venture into the realm of speculation and sci-fi, straight from my lovely assistant GPT, one could imagine a hypothetical scenario in which Worldcoin's iris scanning technology is adapted to somehow scan these REM eye movements, creating a form of dream code. This code, in turn, could potentially be deciphered to access or influence the dreamer's subconscious. However, even in speculation, it has to drop all the disclaimers. It's important to acknowledge the profound ethical and privacy concerns such a concept would raise. Yeah, no crap. That's exactly why we're talking about this, because this is creepy on so many levels. Back to this. Dreams are one of the most private and personal aspects of our minds, and the idea of breaking into someone's dreams raises immediate alarms about consent and mental autonomy. It's a concept reminiscent of sci-fi narratives like Inception, where dream manipulation is depicted as both a powerful and potentially dangerous tool. In reality, the science of dream interpretation and manipulation is in its infancy. Exactly right. Research into lucid dreaming and techniques like targeted dream incubation, which we've talked about dreamvertising in the past, are beginning to scratch the surface of influencing our dream states. But these are a far cry from the idea of directly capturing or breaking into dreams. So they say. So the actual company line is in terms of technology and what's available. You think they haven't been trying? I'm sure they've been trying like crazy to do this type of stuff. All in all, while it's fascinating to imagine, it's going to do the old bit and say there's really nothing to suggest that this is really happening right now. But who knows, right? How would you know if you unless you were breaking into people's dreams? Yeah, you're good. You're good, Derek. You're totally good, man. Totally good. It happens. But yeah, that's a wild one to me, because if it is like an individual dream code, and let's say your eyes sort of darting back and forth and doing that rapid eye movement sleep is not specifically random. Maybe it's sort of a Morse code of the eyeballs that they're going to be able to pick up on by scanning these things. And that's the weird part to me when it comes to all of this, just all of this. Like I hate the concept of using a part of our body as a way to log into our email. And that to me is like, or whatever, right? I mean, I'm exaggerating, of course, but that's where it will lead, because if you can't prove you're human, then you're not going to get an email, right? It's wild stuff. And this is why this is creepy as hell. Yeah, it's all good, man. It's totally all good. Totally all good. What do you guys think though? Would you, okay, so let's take it back to the real world for a moment. They're giving people cryptocurrency to scan your eyeball. Okay, back to what's it called? oh boy, what is this called? What's the company? Worldcoin. Yeah, Worldcoin. There you go. So they're actually just giving away this coin, this cryptocurrency called WLD. All right. And of course, that is another thing entirely, because do I trust crypto? No. Nope. Sorry, I don't. It's another vaporware. And look, I might, if they weren't able to take the FBI and recall, some stolen Bitcoin, because we're told, with the way the ledger works, and in terms of the cryptocurrency, what's the ledger? It's called the blockchain. The blockchain. So once it's gone, it's gone. It's like Western Union. You send the money and it's gone. There's no recalling it. It's cash money in somebody else's hand, and you're screwed. Okay, if you got scammed. That's the way this was supposed to be. But then with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in particular, and of course all the rest, because Bitcoin's supposed to be the gold standard, right? The FBI was able to recall sort of a ransom of $4 million, if you recall this. Just happened 8 months ago, something like that, where that money was supposed to be given to people that were extorting information. They hacked something, and they wouldn't give people their access back unless they gave them, $4 million in crypto. You can look that up. It's a real thing. I'm not making it up. I'll even pull it up during the break and make sure that I get my facts straight here. But what happened was, shortly after that the FBI or somebody within the government was able to recall that Bitcoin ransom money through these blockchain transactions, which supposedly is not supposed to be able to happen. So who's lying to us is what I want to know regarding all this stuff. And that's the whole point of this. It creeps me out because a lot of the technology we're told is one way, ends up being another way. And if this is just some sort of a new version of a Trojan horse backdoor situation, then exhausting and difficult to keep up with. Let's see, back to this. Consider for a moment, let's go esoteric now. Consider for a moment the concept of the third eye. Okay, we're scanning regular eyeballs. All right, your regular retinas, 2 of them. We got 2. But what about this concept of the third eye? An esoteric and spiritual concept prevalent in many ancient cultures, particularly in Indian spiritual traditions. The third eye is said to be located in the middle of the forehead, slightly above the space between the eyebrows, and it is believed to provide perception beyond ordinary sight. This concept could imply that the eyes are not just physical organs, but conduits of a certain energy or portals to alternate realities that exist beyond our conventional perception of the world. And you start to see how this becomes incredibly problematic, right? You see, it's an esoteric thought, it's an old tradition, all the rest of that stuff, but this becomes creepy. In terms of the supernatural, imagine if iris scanning technology like Worldcoins could inadvertently tap into these unseen energies or dimensions. Could the unique code generated from an iris scan inadvertently form a kind of magical sigil, a symbolic representation of the individual's personal power or spirit? And if so, how could the sigil be used or misused? I'm going to mark my place there because there's a lot to talk about. And that's the point. I think that's the point. We don't know a lot about human consciousness in terms of, again, the basis of where it comes from. What about downloads and ideas? What about how all this fits together in futurism and esoteric terms? And is there wisdom that our ancestors understood that we may never quite acknowledge again? And I think that's really the dangerous part here in terms of just protecting our biometrics in all ways, because it's easy to just say, go ahead, give them a blood sample, Mike, to log into your email, right? To get into your YouTube account or whatever. But then, right, we're in the ritual element business now. We're talking like blood magic. We're talking really weird stuff. And this is why I think it's important to consider this stuff, not just, let's say, in spellcraft terms or magic, but also just protecting the very few unique assets we actually have in the meat suit, our meat suit assets. Okay, and if you're got an OnlyFans account, it'll probably be a different type of meat suit assets, but you get my point. That you only have one body, you only have one thing, one you. And so if you start like peeling out parts of it, your fingerprints, your eyeballs, I don't know, like you got to lick something to get in somewhere. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the particular unique taste bud structure on your tongue. The schnozberries taste like schnozberries. I mean, look, I don't know. As usual, this is weird to me because it seems like people are taking this up. Like people are, what do they say? They got 2 million people to do this. That's a lot of people already, and this thing just started. There's a lot of ways to look at this as usual, and we're going to do it all the ways. Got some more stuff regarding the dream element and maybe breaking into people's dreams, Inception style. But also, what about the ritual element of this? Imagine if it was, and you flipped it, and you were like, okay, so we're not going to do this and scan people's eyes, but like I suggested, you have to give us a drop of your blood. And this will allow us full access to the systems and the powers that be, and of course your what is it? UBI. What is it? I can't remember what it stands for. Your free money, the free money, right? Hey, is there ever such a thing as free money? Stop it. Of course not. As they say, the old saying goes, there's no such thing as a free lunch. If you're given to it by somebody, that somebody expects something in return, no matter how minor or frivolous it may seem. But yeah, that's what's on my mind tonight, just talking about this orb of eternity stuff. Lots of things to consider. The orb itself, if you look at this thing, like I said, it's very, very metallic, very sphere metallic with like a giant black iris. And you're literally supposed to take this thing and put it up to your eyeball. Does this seem like, I don't know, a new version of a crystal gazing, like a crystal ball? Wild stuff. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to line up for this, and I'm not that guy, not going to do it, but this is creepy, especially cryptocurrency, vaporware. Hey, you give me cash money, pay me in silver. We're all going biblical now, but pay me in silver and I might consider it, but you pay me in crypto, just waiting for the rug pull to happen. And as many things happen in crypto. What's up? Hope everybody's well tonight. There it is. Universal basic income. There it is. Thanks, Bailey. How you doing, Bailey? Yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight. What do you think? Would you do this for any amount of UBI? What's your price to scan your retina? And do you think there is some sort of ritual connection to this in terms of maybe being able to, the window to the soul, breaking into dreams with rapid eye movement? And how much information could they get from scanning your exact specific retina? One way or the other. We got two. So we got 2 chances to get hacked and our identity stolen forever by these rogue AI agents, which of course are going to be, many of them are going to be programmed specifically to do exactly this. Because of course, if you can impersonate a human and open a bank account, then suddenly the AI world and AI agents start to become useful. What's the word? Start to become, I don't mean that. I mean terrifying. In any case, what do you think about this? Would you do this for any amount of UBI? When I say pay me in silver, is it for the lulz? You think it's funny? Or do you think it's not funny? Like I said, I don't trust crypto. I don't trust digital money. I don't trust any of this. That's where we're headed. And I know, look, if you deposit money into a bank, what happens is you have 10% of your funds because they've taken 90% of it and gambled it on the stock market, right? So that is really, we're sort of basically in the digital age of money anyway, because it's almost all vaporware. And so, well, what do you think? You're going to scan your eyeball or nah? 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More of all this, the Orb of Eternity, digital eyeballs of Providence, and of course, we got James in Michigan and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing that. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
So all right, so maybe
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Yo ho! Yo ho! Welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. I may have cut myself off there with some wrong button pushing, but we'll make it through. Tonight we're talking about this wild idea of scanning your iris. Now, Worldcoin, an AI firm, plans to form digital identities via iris scanning, offering their digital currency, WLD, as an incentive. But apparently, I don't know exactly how this is supposed to work or how it's working or any of the rest of that, because it's been hinted in some of these discussions, some of these articles, that the coin, the crypto coin they're offering, is going to be some sort of universal basic income. And again, we're looking forward to a time when and whereby the human worker will be completely useless, will be completely minimized. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. And in terms of, let's say if AI is more creative than we could be, what if the Optimus robots with tuned into AI are better painters and workers and customer service agents and drivers and all the rest of this? I mean, suddenly we have a world wherein, like I always joked about in the past, that maybe we are finger painting on the beach. And if that's the case, somebody's got to feed us coconuts and bring us the beer. So how's that going to work? Is it going to be the robots? Maybe. But of course, is there going to be some sort of pound of flesh involved? You bet your bippy, as my grandpa would say, because nothing's free. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and that is a fact. And so, well, where do we sit with this? And this idea of scanning your iris to give to somebody to prove you're human. It's the ultimate CAPTCHA, basically. You know how you used to click the fire hydrants or the stoplights or the motorcycles? Well, not anymore. It's going to be, if you don't have an iris scan, you aren't human. And if you aren't human, guess what? You aren't human. You catch that? You catch what I meant. Shout out to Jay over on Rockfin. He brought this up and he's totally right. And I forgot to mention this. Verified human, this is from Reuters.com. I dropped it in all the chats and I'll drop it in the description as well. Verified human, Worldcoin users queue up for iris scans. People around the world are getting their eyeball scanned in exchange for a digital ID and the promise of free cryptocurrency, shrugging off concerns among privacy campaigners and data regulators. Founded by Sam Altman, the CEO of ChatGPT and developer OpenAI, the Worldcoin project says it aims to create a new identity and financial network. Seems fine. And that its digital ID will allow users to, among other things, prove online they are human, not a bot. The project launched on Monday with eyeball scans taking place in countries including Britain, Japan, and India. At a crypto conference in Tokyo, people on Tuesday queued in front of a gleaming silver globe flanked by placards stating, "Orbs are here." Oh, dear God. That doesn't seem ritualistic at all. Applicants lined up to have their irises scanned by their device before waiting for the 25 free Worldcoin tokens the company says verified users can claim. Oh, there you go. Quote, this is from somebody that did this. "There's a risk with having the data of your own eyes collected by a company. But I like to follow the most up-to-date crypto projects," says Seiki Sasaki, age 33. "I was a bit scared, but I've done it now and can't take it back." Yeah, duh. Maybe you should have thought twice. In any case, yeah, people are lining up in different places regarding this. Let me reset this. I hear the popping again. Yes, indeed. Technology. You got to love it. Gotta love the technology. Okay. Anyway, thanks guys for popping back in. Again, the gentlemen that make this show go, the glue. Again, shout out to the Night Stalker. I'm really sorry. You're on fire as always, and we had some technical issues, like I'm having, by the way, with my popping in the audio. So I'm sorry about that. But let's do it. Let's get back to James was here first. James Salcedo Paranormal. What else do you got regarding this? The eyeballs, as you know, take it anywhere you want. I thought I saw you in line in the picture of this article. Am I mistaken, sir?
You need to get your eyes checked, maybe, possibly.
Oh, the ultimate rattle the rim joke, James. Get me. Go ahead, sir.
So I will go as quick as I can here, but I wanted to sort of describe some of my own experience in terms of eye contact. And it really caught my attention when it was brought up because for me, I can tell when people are looking at me, but I can't make eye contact with other people. I can't initiate it because I'm legally blind. I can see the person in front of me, but I can't really see their eyes. They're just another couple of blurs in the middle of a larger blur. And so they can be moving all around. I can't tell if they're looking straight at me or not unless they're really focused on me. The person is really focused on me. And so that just makes me wonder about that kind of connection. And is it when we have that experience where we can tell when we're being watched, is it because of some kind of a spiritual thing? Is it sort of when we're looking at, wherever we're looking at, are we sending out some of our own energy through our eyes towards other people? And is that maybe how, in some cases, we can tell when we're being watched by someone? It's sort of a connection with this other consciousness or soul or whatever that we didn't start, but we can tell when it has been started by someone else.
Yeah, that's wild. So I'm not exactly sure how that works and how it goes back and forth. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's part of it. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's quite a bit more complicated, and maybe some people have more of an ability to have sort of that gaze. I know. Look, if you guys are familiar with your history a little bit, Rasputin, again back from the old Russian days, again, with the royal family and all the rest of that business, and they said he had this particular gaze, like this piercing stare. And, you can even see it in photographs, like black and white photographs from the time. You look at Rasputin as the person, and he just has this just bizarre, like actual piercing gaze, even in the photographs, just something with this man's eyes. But also, by the way, when they ended up finally taking this dude out, because of course he was like the original Grima Wormtongue of, giving bad advice. He ended up, they had to kill him like 10 times. They drowned him, they shot him, they stabbed him, So it does make me wonder, James, if there's something incredibly weird going on here. Damn, this thing popping with the audio. It's killing me. Okay, so another reset. But yeah, your thought on that. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I wonder if some people, and especially with Rasputin, as you mentioned there, if he was just giving off so much energy that no matter what picture, what camera was used, maybe that's why some pictures do that. It's not just an image, it's part of the person's energy as well. I've heard that different cultures around the world do not want their pictures taken because it feels like, to them anyway, some of their energy or some of their spirit or soul or consciousness is captured and in that way taken from them when that's done. So, but in a case where someone is just possibly that powerful or that gives off, who knows, that much extra energy, in a case like that where obviously he was physically powerful as well, maybe that's part of why those pictures, you can still see that. And I've heard of that in other images as well. People will say it seems like there's more to that picture than just the image.
Yeah, which again, we're as usual, right? It goes back to a quote from the original Indiana Jones with Marcus Brody, and he says, "Indy, you're dealing with powers you cannot possibly comprehend. And I think that's what we're looking at in terms of human consciousness and how this stuff may or may not fit. And it seems weird to me that we're just so frivolously just waving this off and being like, let's go forward. And I think that's why we should consider, like again, that guy in the article, he's like, I was scared at first, but then once I scanned it, I was relieved because, can't take it back now. Well, congratulations. Welcome to the herd, my friend, whatever that even means. But I mean, this is weird, bro. This is a weird thing. And like I said, be very careful about giving up your biometrics that you cannot change. Like again, what I don't use on my phones, by the way, my fingerprint things. I don't use the facial recognition bit to unlock my phone. Again, I'm no expert, but nor should you. nor should you. What else you got, James? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about maybe the reason why it's so easy in a lot of cases for cameras to just capture images of people sort of in the surveillance situation, it's because there is no consciousness behind it. But now I wonder, and I don't know if there's any studies on this or not, if people who are being watched by a camera where there's someone watching that feed of that camera, I wonder if there's any way to sense that still, that there's someone watching through the device or not. That's just a random tangent of a thought there. But if it's not, if it's just these devices that are just technology, then there wouldn't be that sense. But now, of course, the other part of that is if we put AI into all that, then what does that feel like further on down the line? To have AI sort of being behind these devices in the future and operating them and taking the images, and would people be able to sense that or not? And I think the easy possible answer would be no, but then if, again, depending on what AI is or what it could become, if some kind of other entities do take it over, then maybe you will be able to feel that as well.
Yeah, why not? And I think that's why, as usual, we should consider all the angles when we think about these things and do these things. Don't. My opinion, just throwing it out there. Don't do something like the guy in line that was interviewed in this Reuters article that was like, I was scared at first, but then once it happened, I was like, well, it's too late now, so it's too late to be scared. Yeah, just please think about these things. You only have 10 fingers. By the way, if you're super interested in that type of stuff, we covered this, 3.5 years ago, with the thumb, sort of unlocking your phone. And this seems ridiculous, but you can buy these sort of like unique stickers that you put on your thumb to unlock your thing, so you're not actually unlocking it with your thumb. It's like a replicated. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm saying that this is the world we live in. And imagine, James, like we were talking about, we were joking during the break. Everybody wearing a blindfold because you don't want the drones in the sky, the drones to keep us safe, the Reaper drones scanning our eyeballs from afar. Maybe that's the future we're headed to.
I'm starting to think maybe I should invest in a white cane company. This company that makes those canes that blind people use to get around, to find obstacles.
Yeah, buy one cane, get two blindfolds free.
Yeah. And just so everyone knows, I'm making the joke because I am legally blind, so I can make the blind joke.
Yeah, we noticed because you rattled the rim on the get your eyes checked mic. Damn it, James. Good God. So good, so smart. Amazing stuff as always. You're the best, brother. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for popping back in. Thanks for saving my ass. Thanks for being the glue of this show. And thanks for being you. Everybody give him a follow. Salcedo Paranormal, do the thing. Links in the description down below. It says follow James here. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Search it yourself. SALSIDO space paranormal. You're the best, bro. Thank you very much.
Take care.
You too. 702-957-1037. We're talking about this eye stuff. Like I said, the eye stuff creeps me out because eyes in particular are one of those things. Like, think about somebody touching your eye with a finger. Okay. Like, not like viciously poking you or something. I just mean, like, imagine some other person, again, think somebody close to you. I don't want some rando stranger with that hasn't washed their hands, touching your eyeball just ever so slightly. If you don't get like the creeps thinking about that, I don't know. There's something about the eyes. It's like so connected to the brain. It's almost like they're touching the gray matter in your brain. There's something about the eyes. Anyway, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. What about the ritual element here? What about breaking into people's dreams? What about the things we don't know about human consciousness? Is scanning the eyeball dangerous? Matthew in Colorado. What's up, my man? Welcome back. You sent me this article, and I think it's fantastic, by the way, or you sent me the name, Rupert Sheldrake. You can get to that as you in your own time here, but the sense of being stared at. I'll have this link in the description as well. But go ahead, sir. How are you tonight? Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, that related to what James was just talking about. And, pretty much everybody, I would venture a guess, everybody has experienced the phenomena where you feel like you're being stared at, and like usually from behind your back or maybe beside you. And then maybe you turn around and sure enough, somebody's staring at you. And I had an experience walking into a grocery store. I was walking behind a attractive young lady, and I happened to be kind of staring at her, and she was walking and like stopped, turned over her shoulder and looked right at me. I mean, I know she was staring at her. I got cold busted, but Rupert Sheldrake, he used to do the trialogues with Ralph Abraham, who invented chaos theory, and Terence McKenna. And he did scientific studies on the phenomena of being stared at and came up with conclusive evidence, and it was replicated, that people can tell when they're being stared at. And like James said, I think that might have to do with something like our consciousness or our energy being somewhat projected or directed through our eyes. And there's an old spiritual saying that where your attention goes, your energy flows. And what primary way do we direct our attention? By where we look. You look at a particular thing, you think about that thing. You're driving around, or you look at a person or whatever. So a lot of where your attention is going has to do with the eyes. And where your attention goes, your energy flows. So then the energy of you as a being and your consciousness then flows kind of through your eyes. And then that, kind of strikes another person, and they have a consciousness, and they've got a tinfoil hat, right? And they've got the ability to perceive that, and they take notice of it. And how that ties into tonight's subject, I think there is just so much that goes on with the eyes, and that they want to, capture that and digitize that and get images of that and create unique identifiers of that. I mean, you brought up so many points of what could be done with that. And just a short story. One time I was in a bar and I was having a couple of beers. I'm sitting at the bar, guy next to me, total stranger. And we were kind of talking, and I don't know, apparently he was pretty drunk, drunker than I was. But somehow we got a little sideways in a conversation. And this guy looked at me and said some stuff. He's like, I just got out of prison, 4 months ago or whatever. But he looked at me and just like stared me in the eye with this like evil eye. It's the only time I've ever seen it. And I had already noticed he had like two of those teardrops that they paint below the eye when you've like killed somebody. So this guy was a murderer and was just out of prison. And this guy, kind of threatened me and said some stuff. And he looked at me with this evil eye that just like, I was afraid. I mean, it sent chills down me. And So, you mentioned the evil eye before, and I just wanted to share that story. I've experienced it, and you don't want to see it, and you don't want to deal with the people that have it.
Yeah, wild stuff. Fantastic story. So is it possible then, let's say, back off of the full murderer, is it possible to maybe give somebody like a minor style curse inadvertently through the evil eye? Through, again, where they wear these certain charms to ward off these, jealousy or, resentment or whatever it happens to be. Is there something to this in sort of a lesser term that's not like, I'm going to kill you? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that just gets into the basic fundamentals of kind of like magic or consciousness or good or evil, and some people aren't that cool, and are there things like talismans and that you can wear or do for protection, or can you do protection spells and things like that? But the other thing I wanted to mention is the idea of dream inception. And I had mentioned this on a previous show that through my just long history of extensive dream recall and everything, I had a dream one time, and I know we're short on time, I can't tell the dream, but I had a dream one time that I was absolutely convinced was a dream inception that was being artificially implanted. And I think they already have that technology. And my experience of it was very primitive, which is why I knew it wasn't a regular dream. That's why I knew it was an inception, because of my experience and because of a couple peculiarities that stood out about it. But like you were talking about the REM state and tying into the eyes, and if they've got, your digital fingerprint of your eyes, and let's say it is something like a key code, and
I want to think of it like a Rubik's cube, right? Like that sort of thing. Like if they can track exactly like the unlock code of your eyeball entering you into the dream world. Anyway, go ahead. About a minute left. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So then let's just put a cell phone in that. So they've got your key code. You've got a cell phone. What do you do to your cell phone? You look at it. I heard a story the other day that the iPhones are supposedly like every 9 seconds taking an image through the phone without you knowing about it. But let's just take a cell phone and maybe you're listening to some music or something when you go to sleep, or you're looking at your phone and they've got the key code to your eyes, and then you go to sleep at night and your phone's on, you're listening to music, and they've got access to your dreams through dream inception, and you gave them the blueprints to your eyes. Man, that gets pretty scary.
It gets incredibly deep and incredibly scary. Maybe Inception becomes a government program. Don't worry, just come scan your eyes. We'll give you some grain and some beer. You'll be happy. You're the best. I appreciate you popping back in. I'll read this thing with Rupert in a moment as well when we come back. Amazing stuff as always. Give Matt a follow. Go buy one of his books. Like I said, I'm not the only one making this show go. It's so many other great people. Please support James, support Matthew. Links in the description, troubledminds.org/friends. Go buy a book. James is also an amazing author. Go buy books from both of these gentlemen. You're the best, Matthew. Thank you very much. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere.
All right, you're the best. Have a good night.
You too. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. It's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we discuss your eyeballs. Yeah, that's right, your eyeballs. Wouldn't you know it? Worldcoin, an AI firm, plans to form digital identities via iris scanning, offering their digital currency, WLD, as an incentive Now, this has been bandied about a little bit as UBI, Universal Basic Income, and this type of thing. And what does it look like in a post-scarcity future wherein robots are doing all of the work and we are, obsolete? What does this mean? And look, I think part of the problem is that we give up, if we give up, again, a pound of flesh, is back to the term, right? You give up a pound of flesh. In this sense, we only have so many fingers and digital fingerprints that we can, actual fingerprints, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyeballs type of thing. Once all that has been hacked and scanned and, sold on the dark web and all the rest, and the AI agents of the future are now masquerading as you because they have all of your actual biometric data. I mean, we have a serious, bizarre future in front of us. And would you scan your eyeballs and give it away to a private corporation for, I don't know how much money it is. Let's say $1,000 a month. Let's say $2,000 a month. Would you do this? What's your price to scan your eyeball and take some money in exchange? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Thanks for being cool and chill. Thanks for saving my ass night after night. You guys are all incredible. Let's go to David on the road. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead. Sorry about the popping. Technology is terrible tonight.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. Go right ahead, sir.
All right. Got myself an echo.
I got your echo right here. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, sir.
All right. They do use tracking technology for criminals. I mean, that's probably the first place they use these things. You've got fingerprints, then you've got DNA, and then you've got the retinal scan, which is all used for specific criminals. And so it's like a testing ground, I think. So if there's something that's being used in the criminal aspect, they're going to most likely use that type of technology to track the rest of everybody else. Sorry, I'm driving here up the mountain here.
That's okay. You're allowed. Go ahead, sir. If you need a minute, I got you.
So yeah, I think that's interesting that the foundation for tracking is going to come from like the criminal aspect of it, and they've had companies that use chips to track their employees. That's been done. So all this stuff is like incrementalism, where they invite people for incentive, and they put it out in the public and get people used to the idea in one way or another, and then next thing you know, people are like, it's no big deal, and they'll accept it. It's much like the incentives for the jab. Some people, I've heard that they put out incentives to get that done.
Yeah, so something was like, little money. Some people did it for like a 6-pack of beer. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, come on, stop it. I mean, how hard up you got to be like, yeah, go ahead, inject me with the thing. Where's my 6-pack? And they probably give you a cheap 6-pack. I mean, crying out loud, stop this. I don't know. They did lotteries. They did all kinds of stuff, man. Like, I don't know. And like I said, look, as a regular human in this world, it's hard to sort of steer away from a lot of these agendas, which seem nefarious because of things like that. You're like, really, a 6-pack of beer, bro? Like, look, if I was that motivated, I could go like, probably in 3 hours, walk around and just pick up change and go buy my own 6-pack of beer. Crying out loud. It's so crazy. I don't know, man. Yeah, go ahead.
The cryptocurrency that's offering this incentive, what country of origin is that cryptocurrency from? Like what company is what country is the company from? Is what I'm asking.
I think it's from here. So it's Sam Altman is the
really?
CEO of OpenAI, and he's an American as far as I'm aware. And the weird part about that is that it says in this first article from Gizmodo that they have some actual regulatory concerns here in the States because, of course, right, they're cracking down on crypto like crazy because, they're like, oh, God, you're going to compete with the fiat. And we don't want that at all. And so there's some, quote, regulatory concerns. But other places in the world, again, India or the UK or some of these other places that are maybe less regulated and less invested in the American dollar, dare I say, that they're like, yeah, cool, let's do this. So I don't know. Maybe this is cracked down on entirely, but this is kind of the point: is that once you give it up, you can't get it back. It's gone. It's in somebody's database, and somebody's going to hack it, and somebody's going to use it. And these AI agents I'm always talking about of the future, it's coming. Like I said, you guys may think I'm insane at this point. Trust me on this. There's going to be 1 billion of these, or 10 billion of these, or 100. We're going to be outnumbered by AI agents because it's going to be so cheap to deploy them, so cheap to train them, and it's just going to be. You think political grassroots activism is dead now? I do. This is going to completely destroy it forever because any human voice will be drowned out in the echo of AI agents. It's coming, bro. It's coming.
Yeah. I think that people, there's going to be a division among people who want it and who don't want it. And, if you're going to be forced to do something, people go underground and they separate themselves from society and make their own society. And so it's like they'll be outcast or they'll be hunted down and brought into the system and forced to be part of it. Because, to me, it feels like people are a type of resource that they don't want to let go of. It's almost like if you find some gold and there's more gold over there, you're going to want that gold too. So it kind of makes me think that we're, as people, are a resource for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to force us to do anything. They just, get what they have and, no big deal. But it seems like being forced is some kind of control method to keep everyone and in one circle. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. The pound of flesh, like humans are a commodity at this point. But imagine this. Now, this is a terrifying part, and some people have suggested, the degrowth movement or depopulation, how some of this fits. Imagine a world wherein humans are no longer a commodity in most cases. You can't remove it entirely, but let's say by a large degree, like 80%, it's been completely replaced. Now, that entire thing is terrifying because, like you're describing, they can't let go of the commodity of the human thing. But suddenly, if we have robots doing everything and AI doing everything, then suddenly humans become incredibly problematic because we got tons of time. We can protest, we can organize, we can revolt. And I'm not suggesting anybody do that. I'm just saying, like, this becomes incredibly problematic. And so there is not an actual incentive for power structures to hook up the population, because if they do, they stay strong and healthy. They stay stable of mind. They understand what's happening to them and what's happening to us. And then suddenly, like old school France, people are like, hell no, we won't go. And let them eat cake indeed. I mean, I don't know, like this is part of the problem, right? You can't write us out of the picture as that commodity, because guess what? Humans are it. Here on Earth, I'm sorry. Look, all the animals are fantastic. Like I said, please don't frivolously kill things. It makes me sad, and it should make you sad. But I mean, look, we're the ones running the technology. We're the ones, possibly going to Mars, if you believe that. And so, I don't know, man. To kind of sideline us entirely as a species is incredibly concerning, because you know what comes next. Like, sideline the species. What comes next is a massive depopulation agenda, the degrowth movement. Look it up. Like I said, if you say depopulation, they're like, this crazy conspiracy theorist. Go look up the degrowth movement and look at the money that's behind this thing. I'm telling you. Go ahead. What else you got, bro?
Yeah, you've seen the movie Minority Report, where he's evading the system, and he's almost getting caught. And he knows he has to replace his eyes with someone else's eyes so that they can't find him. You know, those little spider-like robots that came in and into his room, and they pulled him out of the bathtub or something, and scanned his eyes, and he had already had his eyes replaced with someone else's. so it's like, oh, it's not him, and then they left. And so that could, there's going to be technology comes up where there's going to be a way to fake the system,
Yeah,
and that's
a black market of missing people stealing their eyes. You're damn right, bro.
yeah, it's creepy. Yeah,
it's incredibly creepy, and that's where we're headed, man. That's this dystopia. Like I said, obviously there's going to be laws against it, but there's laws against all kinds of things that are constantly happening now. So to say stupidly, by the way, oh, Mike, there will be laws against that. Yeah. You think? Oh, okay. That means everybody will stop doing it. Obviously, duh. Yeah, of course not. That's silly. But anyway, what else you got, my friend? What else you got?
The universal income. That comes after like the robot revolution. Basically, everybody's got a robot everywhere, and takes all the jobs in your home. And the government's like, oh, we got to pay everybody, and eventually that's gonna fall apart, and they're gonna have to get rid of everybody. Just like you said, you gotta depopulate. There's too many people.
All these useless eaters, they're all breathing up all the air. They're spitting all this CO2. They're eating up all of our crops and whatnot. Hey, they don't even have swimming pools, but now they're making our heated swimming pools cost a lot more because of all this lettuce and rice they're eating. How dare they? Let's just cut off their ration of lettuce and rice. This will be fine.
It's almost like we can see it coming, and you see where things can come down the line like this. It doesn't take much thought to really process where things are going. That's why it's scary, because it's like we all see it, it's like, hopefully it's not going to go that way. Let's just hope it's cleaned up.
No, because people notice. Like we're the conspiracy edge of this, but there's a ton of normies that see this too. And in the case of removing personal, actual, God-given rights granted by the Constitution, there's going to be a massive problem. And like I said, they better not touch some of that stuff, because when they do, the world will change very quickly. Yeah, God, you're the best. Yeah. What else you got?
There's a movie, The Sixth Day, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where they're cloning people, and what they did was they used this like eye scanning technology that they said, oh, we just take this little shot of your eye, so for some reason it was basically a falsity. They're getting your brain scan basically through this eye scan. And what they do is they take this and upload it to the clone so that it matches the brain and everything else. And it just, it's very science fiction-y, but it was very telling where technology wants to go. And I just thought I'd bring that up. It's interesting.
Yeah, incredibly. Soylent Green is people, my friend. Soylent Green is people. You're the best.
Thanks for the great show, Mike.
Yeah. No, thanks for being part of it. You're the best, David on the road. Always a pleasure. Give him a follow, please. You know him, you love him. Out there doing that invisible process. I'm always talking about. The economy is people, guys. So Soylent Green is people, but also the economy is people. There's people out there driving by dark of night to get groceries to places. There's people sleeping during the daytime so they can stock overnight. There's people driving, these commodities, actual food commodities of fast food restaurants and whatnot, to people that are like, I can't get out of bed because I'm not going to go get my own food. Somebody's going to bring me my food. And I've just mentioned 3 of the people here that do this. And we are the economy. Don't let anybody ever tell you differently in some esoteric futurist term where they're like, the economy is all the numbers and the numbers. And shut the F up. We are it. And the second we decide to stop it and ask for a refund, we have that ability. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Give David a follow. Talented guy. Again, he's out there on the road, truck driving, and talented guitar player. Links in the description, troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow David here. He's got a YouTube channel, and go check it out. Amazing stuff. Let's do it. We're still talking about this weird eyeball stuff. What's going on with it? Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on with this. I mean, there's a couple of things to consider. I mean, for one, like the iris scan, it can't this retinal scan, it can't be done. It has they can't just rip out people's eyeballs and use these. So that won't happen. We can put that fear aside because these scans will only work on a living human being. Like the first thing to begin to decompose is the eye. So that won't be something we have to worry about. The biggest issue is that this has already happened. Like something like billions of people already on the earth have had their eyes, especially in India. It's very common apparently that they've already had their eyes scanned. But this is what's creepy about it is not only the symbolic aspect of it, but the access that they are then granted and the way that this would affect. I mean, being able to see so precisely the DNA of a human being by looking so closely at their eye, the symbology itself about them doing this, that they have chosen to so closely keep track of humanity this way, though it is a commodity, and of course, if they owned you in some way, or if that was the case, that we are a commodity, that we are the currency currently being used on the planet by corporations or by something else, then it would make sense they would want to keep track of being able to identify a real you. In this retinal scan, this iris scan, it'd be the most accurate way to tell that they have the actual you. Much better than every other biometric technology they have with fingerprints or even voice recognition or anything like that. So I can see why they are leaning towards this, if that was the case, that you're just really wanting to keep a close dibs on all of your product. But to think about it that way then, of the human being just a commodity this way, and what would be would it just be that, because corporations, if they want to give you a universal basic income, that would insinuate that they don't need you for that any longer, which is what they're telling you. It's kind of an eye for an eye trade in there, that they're not trying to make, they're not trying to take money from you. They're not trying to make money with you anymore. They want something else. And so I think at that point we even begin talking about that it's not just what they're getting from your eye when they scan it. It's not just it's not about the literal eyeball, I don't think. But what's strange about that is I was doing a little bit of digging about it, because I haven't really done a lot of thinking about, iris recognition or anything of the kind. But I see here it says, with various improvements over the years, these algorithms remain today the basis of all significant public deployments of iris recognition. And the top performers and the ones who implement it today are Morpho Trust and Morpho, which are these companies that handle all of this. And of course, we know that Morpheus is the god of sleep. And so it does, I think, have some, there could be, that's an interesting, why would you choose these type of nefarious terms for your companies? Like Morpho and Morpheus Trust, when you're dealing in eye retinal scans. I mean, it's just very interesting. But we know that our society is shaped around these type of, not just, it's all in the etymology. For example, even I was looking at the eye itself, and when they're scanning the pupil or the iris. But in the case of scanning the pupil, the etymology of pupil is an orphan, a ward. That's what the word comes from. So they're seeing the eye as being, and I've thought this for the longest time, that we are a nation of orphans, because the way that this world would work, that you could believe such lies, it would have to be that you were an orphan and you were told this as a child and nobody could correct it because no one was alive to tell you any different when the first story was told. And that would be the case of our entire world understanding of history, really. Let me make sure nothing's plugged in. Hang on.
Yeah, you're good. It's very Orwellian too, as usual, right? We're talking about rewriting history in those terms, and by the way, like we talk about esoteric stuff all the time, intentionally, because I truly believe that there's an old way that is still relevant, and you decide what that means. Anybody out there that hears this, but I think kind of just dropping that by the wayside because of the new way. It's dangerous. I think it's incredibly dangerous. We're giving away the knowledge of our ancestors as frivolous and stupid because they were uneducated and there was no internet back in the 1930s. You know what I mean? So those people must be incredibly stupid. Stop it. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying like that type of notion, and that'll again it'll leak up. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I mean, look what they talk about, like the older generation now. Like they call them boomers as a joke, as like okay, boomer. It's like, really? This is how we treat our elders now, who have lived through unimaginable things that were like on our cell phones and with the sun shining, and we're critical of them. I don't know. Like I said,
if you can't have the reference of those who have come before you, you are basically completely blind going into this world, and if you have nothing to reference it to except for the system that is raising you in a way. Be that with every system that they have access to in every way, and then being able with this scan, they can see it's a DNA print. It's just like it's just a snapshot of it's a snapshot of your nervous system at that exact moment, and it can predict diseases that will happen. However, hundreds of however, any definition of the DNA. In the line of your DNA, not just in your lifetime, but future lifetimes as well. Like in the case of your offspring, because it's your DNA. So, I mean, the eye has that in the iris and everything, and you can look that up. One thing to mention here too, I think it's really important, is like the idea of the Cyclops even, and that this whole focus about the fact that we're, what do they want to scan our eyes for? There's a much bigger picture here of what's the singular focus without taking other perspectives and consequences into account. So we're kind of singularly, if you cannot recognize that them wanting to scan your retina and then use that to create a system where that is your thumbprint to identify, to surely say who you are, and they need that kind of reassurance in their system to say that you're a real human being or not. And then who are the people dealing in real humans, and why are they doing this? So I think we're getting distracted just by the fact of it being the mark of the beast, or that this is the time. It's like we're really not seeing the bigger picture here. It's not just about scanning your eyeball. What kind of world are we living in when they're scanning your eyeball? What kind of world are we turning into where that's become the definitive, like the real ID? If everybody remembers that, when that came out, that you have to have a real ID.
Exactly. Yeah, I've always made this case. I'm like, so interesting. We need a real ID because the old ID was the fake ID. No, stop. Right. This is nonsensical. Like we're layering dumb things. Yeah, layering dumb things because we can't even make the original thing our thing. We're just like, by the way, now you have to have the real ID. But here's the thing too, regarding that, Jen, we have two eyeballs. So what happens when we do this? We take our UBI. They're different, exactly. But we only have two. And so we're finger painting on the beach. We've scanned our left eyeball, and it gets hacked by somebody on the dark web. And then suddenly somebody's masquerading around, taking rations that are undeserved from them, that are supposed to go to us, and suddenly we start to starve. We'll scan our other eyeball and re-authenticate ourselves. And then, of course, what happens next? you know exactly what happens next.
Well, I think too. We're running a little low on time, but the symbology of the eye itself, and that this is not about.
If you got more to say, we'll go long.
It's definitely not about the eyeball. It does. That's the big point here. But this is going much further than that, because what's really seeing the world is not just the eyeball, of course. It's just not. I mean, that's the way we're receiving the light. But even a blind eye is receiving light and information. But there is something else about us that's it's the life itself that's picking up this information. But this is a direct scan. I think it's distracting in a way. I don't know why. I have some other points I'd like to make, but yeah, for sure. I'm going to hang over just a little bit.
All right, stay right there. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Stay right there. Jennifer, Missouri, the Arcane Observer. Give her a follow. Links in the description. TroubledMinds.org/friends, or search it directly, the Arcane Observer. Look, if you're listening to us on the radio, thanks for being part of it. By the way, the radio numbers are freaking booming. Booming. Hey, look, you have no idea how incredibly quickly this is growing. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for listening over there. Have a fantastic night. From our Troubled Minds to yours. We'll see you tomorrow night. I'm telling you what, guys. Just as a basis of what I just said there. So, like, Troubled Minds has been working on a YouTube channel for 5 years. 3,000 plus followers. Again, I'm proud of every single moment of all of it. And the radio station is about half of the same watch time in like 3 months. So it's growing incredibly faster than the YouTube ever did, or in terms of any Rockfin or anything else. So I'm telling you, like, look, as they say, build it and they will come. And I appreciate you guys listening over there. It does help. It does help. All that stuff helps. If you guys are listening on the radio station, I see you and I thank you very much. Back to Jen. Thanks for being patient. So regarding again, so the commodity of the human. And then my point was about the one eyeball. They can extort you because you're like, okay, well, I'll scan the other one, and now that's my new identity because somebody stole my old one. But then they're going to steal your second eyeball as your other identity, and then you have no more eyeballs to give. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, the AI can, I mean, once we have access to this information, they're going to upload it. It's not going to be run by people. They're going to have to use they're going to have to use AI to keep track of that amount of information. It's not just the eyeball. It's all the information that's held inside of the retina and the iris and the in the nervous system that's behind that. They can, when they do this scan, in fact, I mean, some people, it's very, I've never had an iris scan, but it's described as being extremely uncomfortable. But I mean, aside from that, and in the invasiveness of it, they are just snapshotting your soul at that particular moment, it seems to me. And they are seeing, and I hate to use this kind of terms because I'm trying to be very serious with this, and not lose anybody with like talking about souls or whatever, because I think this is very serious. But no, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Okay, so like in the case hey, fuck it, it's Troubled Minds. If we're not talking about it, who is? Go ahead, good.
In the case that you look at that it never meant the eye. The symbology of the eye and the one-eyed gods, like when you talk about or when it's said about Odin, or it's said about any of the gods who have wound up with one eye, like in the case of Cyclops or Odin or Jesus, where they wind up in the end with one eye after hanging or after sacrificing. It's this type of, they sacrifice that eye to see deeper into what will come in the future. They have to give something in order to partake of the fruits of the knowledge about what's going to happen later and to participate in that. And they have all done that. And it's not so strange that us orphans or wards, as pupils, as they see us, that they would require also of us to give our left eye or our right eye, which both are, they're different. They're receiving light differently. In fact, like even from like a spiritual level, it was said even in the Bible that the right eye is for earthly matters, or perhaps it was, no, I'm sorry. That's actually really important. Let me make sure. But that the left eye or the right eye, that one was meant for heaven and the other one was meant for the earth. And I believe it was the left eye was for the earth because the left eye is like an evil eye and you pluck it out and so on and so forth. And that the right eye is for heavenly things. This is really interesting because they know now that the eyes do see light differently. Each eye in your head is seeing the light differently. But there's, of course, the other eye that is not either of those eyes. It's a combination of all of the nervous system because the eyes are just part of that nervous system. So you have the entire nervous system. But when they take a picture of your eye, whether it can see or whether or not, as long as you are alive, when they take that shot of like that scan of your eye, they can see your entire nervous system and your DNA, and they can see what will become of your lineage and what has been in the past of your lineage through your DNA. And they've been mapping that with incredible technology through CRISPR and everything else. And we shouldn't be afraid to acknowledge, even though it sounds crazy to us in our normal life, our day-to-day life, but that is their work. That is what the people who are behind these things, like Morpheus Trust, essentially, the god of sleep trust, is handling these scans. That's incredible. To fathom that they have named a whole industry after a god of dreams and sleep.
Yes. And like you said previously too, you were like, why do they name these things after these things that are so provocative in terms of, like you could have some like modern term or whatever. Yeah. So here's the thing too. So an iris scan database is now being called metaphorically a soul library. This is what I mean. It's like seriously, like these are the terms we're using to not freak people the fuck out. No, right. That's going to freak people out. Stop doing that stuff because they need, and look, I'm not trying to help them. I'm trying to say when people tell you who they are, believe them because they've LLC'd it. Exactly. It's copyrighted LLC. Yeah. Dear God.
Anyway. But I mean, anyway, but I think that the other thing too, this whole study of the eye, it's not just, this is ancient. I mean, the Chaldeans, the Egyptians, the whole idea about iridology and everything, the study of the eye to be able to read the soul. This is nothing new. Like now we have this DNA, the study of how we can understand the serpents around they can understand all of the same symbology from the ancient world is being reflected now in all of our technology and science. And all of this is going back, not just to the 1800s and 1900s where they were really studying the eyeball. No, it's going all the way back to to the most ancient of human civilization. Like the Eye of Horus and beyond. Yes. That they had this very strong understanding that the eye was that the patterns of the eye that's unique to every single individual on the planet. I mean, it's more accurate than anything except for, of course, your blood, which they can't do a scan on an eye that's bleeding, supposedly. So, I'm just saying, and sometimes these retina scans can cause a great, the busting of eye vessels and things like that. It's actually kind of invasive. And I think it's unusual that they have to take this type of extent in what they're trying to do to even do this to begin with. Why do they have to identify? I think I'm getting back to that. Why is it so serious to have this database of real identifier, a true identifier, not just that your blood or your thumbprint, which they take at birth, which I think that should be good enough. They have a database of our blood already. When you were born, they take a little of your blood, and we don't know necessarily what they do with it. There's a lot of speculation, but they take that. You won't get your thumbprint done, most likely, unless, and that's the other thing too. They've been using this David was right. I was researching about it on the Wikipedia, and they are using it in the prison systems. They use it in NASA, FBI, CIA, the prison systems. And so this retinal scan is used by all of the orphans of the nation, which are government workers as well, in my opinion. But then you have these free-base workers who are people who are just like ourselves, who are ideally doing whatever our life provokes us to do in the time that we have. But they want access to that to make you also an orphan, a pupil, and a ward of the state, and a ward of this new world order that they are creating. And they need that retinal scan, which seems ridiculous that they'd have to go to that type of extent. But if they're going to also give you an incentive of giving you money for it, money that you will not probably need even. This must be some type of banana, not a banana in front of a donkey, but a carrot in front of a donkey scenario, because it makes no sense whatsoever that they would need to, if they're planning on replacing you with AI or with robotics, but yet you are the commodity, then the beginning of it is a lie already. Like it's already a deception, you know. So that insinuates that they don't need you. They don't want you to, if you are a commodity, they don't need you to just sit around, is what I'm saying, and collect a universal basic income. And so this case with the universal basic,
back to depopulation. They don't need you then. Like
No,
hey,
they have
one
no-
robot could do the work of 5 people. So basically, we don't need 5 people anymore, type of stuff. And that's
But
what I mean.
then
So that's the terrifying future of this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, just what would it mean then? And the money is just the bait that people have been drug across the line too much, and they're like, well, give me an incentive to let you scan my eyeball, I guess. You know, which just sounds absurd. But I mean, if that's the case, which is what's actually happening. People are being bribed with money, like a child, to do this for them. They're like, well, I'll give you some money if you'll let me scan your eyeball.
Get
and so
44 Barbie dolls and a 6-pack of beer.
That's insane. But
That's a
people
scan
are
your
like,
eyeball.
yes, I'm singularly focused right now and foolish, and I think I'll go ahead and do that. Does it mean I don't know. I put a song up in the YouTube chat to this song called Voodoo in My Blood. Now, this is kind of like a side link thing. It's a song that came out like years ago, but it was really creepy. It was really striking because in the music video, the actress, I can't remember her name, but she's walking down this tunnel, like a subway tunnel, and this orb, like phantasm, basically, picture phantasm, comes down in front of her eye, and she's kind of, you know, like, ooh, surprised to see it. And she stops and she's looking at it. And then of course, the orb like stabs her in the eye, and like this little pinprick thing goes into her eye as she's looking into this little bitty orb. And then it withdraws itself, you know, and she bleeds a little bit from the eye, just like you would think about kind of in a terrible scenario of a retinal scan. And then the thing can control her from a distance. And I believe that music is connected somehow into like the way that we're seeing our world. If you watch that music video and you think about all of this, it's the most unappealing thing you could imagine doing, is allowing them to do it. So why were they why were they kind of giving us these hints this is not a good idea to do? And then they talk about, like, even the case of the mark of the beast, but like, you know, the eye of the beholder about life, and that there's all this pre-placement about the one-eyed God, which is probably the devil in some aspect, or probably Satan, which is combined with God, which is like this whole confusion about what the one eye really is. And in the Process Church with Charles Manson, they talk about how it's inside of you, that we are inside of us as God and the devil combined. And it's looking at the world, and the only way the world can be seen is through our eyes, and otherwise it doesn't exist. You know, like if you cannot, and that's not the eye you're looking at the world with, it's the eye of your entire existence of living, like your nervous system, whatever you are left with to see with. You know, if one eye offends you, you pluck the other one out, so on and so forth, that kind of thing. You don't need the eyes to see the world around you. When you're alive, you're experiencing it, right? So if what they're getting at is, see, that's drifting, but you see what I'm saying, Mike? Anyway.
I do. I follow you incredibly. I'm gonna link your contribution here to Night Stalker. Unfortunately, he had some tech issues, but he brought up something.
That really, when he was on, I was like, no, because he was
exactly. Like no, he was on fire. But he said this, and it links back to what you said when he first called. You said an eye for an eye, and he said AI. So we're like, an eye for an AI. Dear God.
Right.
This is the world we live in.
Definitely some type of exchange system. I don't know, but I think that the Morphus Trust handling the study of iris scans and retinal scans, that they are the ones behind it, and that is like the god of dreams. I think that when he was talking about REM sleep, he was going to talk about it. Like, I think, and it's like, well, that would be good to hear. But, you know, just I think that the one-eyed god in history, or goddess even, that this identification about the eye, and that it is the inner eye of our life and existence, that's the eye they're talking about even right now. It's not just about that they're scanning our eyeball, even though that eyeball, like anything else on us, is so unique and once in a universe, will never happen again. None of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's that unique of a code. Again, if you want to go mathematics or computer style, it is that unique of a code. There will never be another this eye or this eye of Michael Strange. It won't exist. In the again, they say that given enough time in a infinite universe, these things will spontaneously appear. But
we never know, right? I mean, we don't know.
Not these eyeballs, Jen. Not these eyeballs.
Not these ones. No.
No,
anyway,
indeed.
have a great night. Thank you.
You're the best. Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. As you know, give her a follow in all the places. That's Jen in Missouri at the Arcane Observer. A big part of this, as you know, and also she has her own show called exactly like I said. Links in the description. troubledminds.org/friends. This says follow Jen here at the Arcane Observer, and you can find her on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. Wait, how did I thought I banned this guy. Hey, if you keep literally, it's a last. Look, we're at the end of the show. If you keep spamming in the chat, you're gone. You get it? Like, I don't have time to fuck around with knuckleheads. And so I get it. You're into the eyeballs or whatever. Chill out. Be cool and chill with the rest of us. And don't spam us, please, with anything. I don't give a damn what it is. Whether it's emojis or whether it's somebody's YouTube channel. I'm like, look, I've worked way too hard. Okay, all right. One more time. We'll end this by banning this spammer in the chat. But look, as usual, this is the deal. Yeah, exactly. That's okay. I got it already ready. This is the deal. Regarding all this stuff, you know me, no answers. I just have more questions in terms of how all this happens or doesn't happen. I think it's important. I think this stuff is important, and whatever it means in terms of the greater aspect of anything, that's for you to decide. I'm not here to tell you what the world is. Okay, I'm here to explore the world through my own personal consciousness and by talking to you guys. Yeah, all right. Yeah, cool. If you want to pop back in, do me a favor. I'm going to grab me a cold one. All right. So Derek says if you can wait like 2 minutes, I can try again. I'm going to play like a short clip. Do we have a Rohan thing here? I think we do, right? Here we go. All right. I'm going to play a quick Rohan clip and come back and we'll see if Derek can pop back in and give us some things. Banned on YouTube. Welcome to the thing. Come back when you're not an idiot and know how to actually have some decorum on the interwebs. There you go. There you go. Oh, dear God. Okay. All right. I see this individual dropping ridiculous things. Okay. All right. So here's the you make 1,000 accounts, I'll ban you 1,000 times. Look, I got that energy in me. All right. So here we go. We're going to play this. It's from the mighty Rohan. Be right back. We're going to try with Derek again in 1 sec to see if we can get this ironed out with the tech stuff. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. More on the way.
When Professor Angel became convinced that the sculptor was indeed ignorant of any cult or system of cryptic lore, he besieged his visitor with demands for future reports and dreams. This or regular. Or after the first interview. Manuscript records daily calls of the young man, during which he related startling fragments of nocturnal imagery, whose burden was always terrible cyclopean vista of dark, dripping stone. With a subterranean voice or intelligence shouting monotonously in enigmatical sensing packs. Indescribable say this gibberish. The two sounds most frequently repeated are those rendered by the letters Fu and Li. Youth's febrile mind, apparently, was dwelling on strange things. And the doctor shuddered now and then as he spoke of them. Touched wildly on a gigantic thing, miles high, which walked or lumbered about. Occasional frantic words convinced the professor that it must be identical with the nameless monstrosity he had sought to depict in his dream sculpture.
Oops, sorry about that. I guess I went a little long on the Rohan track. What's up? What's up? Welcome back to Troubled Minds. Gonna do the thing. Let's try Derek again. Like I said, we had some horrific stuff back in the day with some issues and some tech stuff. Like I said, no skin off the back. By the way, after so many years of doing this and so many things breaking during all of it, it's all good, brother. Welcome back to let's see if we can get Derek back here. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? So like I said, that type of stuff doesn't even bother me anymore. If it's such a horrific call technology wise, we can just trim it out and it's like it never happened, bro. So don't you worry. Welcome back. Derek the Night Stalker, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you, my friend? Go right ahead. Test a test. Test a test. Nope. Nothing. You boot the thing, do the thing. Hello. You're on Troubled Minds. Not for lack of effort, that's for sure. He's closed Discord like 3 times now. Yeah. All good. Definitely. Like I said, and this is the beautiful part, Derek. So we can trim this entire bit out, and it's like it never happened. Hey, how about that? So it's all good.
Test.
I hear you.
Oh my god. God,
what happened?
So mad.
It's fine.
I am so mad. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. I hate to be the person that's causing tech difficulties, but
no, it's fine.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, loud and clear for the time being. Yep, go right ahead.
All right. Yeah. So the eye stuff. I mean, like everything's great so far. Great calls, everybody. Great stuff, Jen. So for the REM stuff, just real quick before I move on to the orb stuff. Yeah. So I helped Joe co-host an episode with a guy who was into the DMT that is naturally made in your body, and he did this experiment. I don't have the detail. I forget the details, but essentially he was doing this dream study where he hooked people up to a machine to try to inject images and stuff to impact their dreams. So like what you might do for dream advertisement, but you actually hooked up to the computer, and he noticed that there was rapid eye movement with it. So my question was okay, so if rapid eye movement's caused by sending of messages to the brain, then who's sending messages to us when we have rapid eye movement during sleep? And he was like, yeah, that's it. That's the question. And I don't know. Can you hear me still? Testing. Sorry.
Loud and clear. Not a single hiccup. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Explain it.
All right, I'm gonna say the same as XSpot just so we can avoid anything. But yeah, so I don't know what that means, but the idea that it's some kind of link, this our eye, the gateway to the soul concept, could be a link to source or Jen was talking about God or who knows what. I don't know. But for the eye stuff, I'm gonna go to my photos here. I mean, for the orb stuff. So yeah, the sphere thing has just really got my the Vegas sphere that Mike was talking about was really got my mind racing, and for weeks now, for months, however long it's been. And so in the Secret Sun group, shout out to Chris Knowles. He posted this thing, Taylor Swift did a concert where she was criticized for having to be some weird witch ceremony, and she's also being criticized for having her chant be summon the demons or something ridiculous that has the word demons in it. That her crowd chants during her tour that she's on right now, which is breaking every record in the world. It's the biggest thing since Michael Jackson, bigger. Can you still hear me before I hit this? Sorry.
Loud and clear.
Sorry. I'm going to keep doing that just so I make sure.
You're good. You're good. I got you.
Okay. All right. So there's I'll try to post a picture afterwards maybe, but so the picture of a bunch of people in robes at a Taylor Swift concert holding these orange orbs up and adorating these orbs. So Chris Knowles, he posts, oh, come let us all adorb them. We all sold our souls to them. Oh, come let us adorb them. Plasmic sentient orbs. He posted that picture with a picture of like the statue holding a golden orb with Trump in the Middle East with whoever that leader in the Middle East is, and they're all holding that glowing orb photo that went around. And there's another one with a bunch of other people in like Congress and stuff, a bunch of other high-ranking politicians just holding this golden orb, just all touching this golden orb, like a glowing orb for a photo op. So I'm like, what does that even mean? So then I posted, like, in replying to that, I posted Operation Golden Orb, which was the king, King Charles' coronation to become king a few months ago. They called it Operation Golden Orb. There's in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, before they bring in the Lovecraftian old ones, Faustus, like the evil headmaster, goes to the Loch Ness and is given this egg of a old one, like a Lovecraftian cosmic horror egg, and it's this shiny orb. In Space Jam, when the aliens like steal the power from all the players, they do so in this glowing orange orb. This is from Mass Effect 3 that I don't play, but when I looked it up, they're called Leviathan orbs, and they're, quote, orb-shaped artifacts to which the Leviathan, Lovecraftian old one, the beast, can communicate, control organic beings within their thrall, and observe the galaxy. So in this game, Mass Effect 3, these orbs act as communication with the Lovecraftian old ones, able to control the Lovecraftian old ones, can puppet us through these orbs, and also observe the galaxy through these orbs. And I'm like, whoa. And then, I think I sent this to you and James and Rivers too, but so I posted all those, and then like 4 hours later, Jeremy Corbell, that freaking guy, posted a picture of him in front of a chalkboard holding this shiny sphere, orb. And I'm like, okay, oh geez, there they are, adorating these orbs. What's the deal with these orbs? Can you hear me still, Tess?
Yeah, Jeremy Corbell, the adoration of the orbs. Yeah. You're loud and clear this time. It's completely the opposite of last time you were cutting out and crapping. This time you're like, not a single word has been lost. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, beautiful. So, I don't know, that's really weird. What's the deal with these orbs? And Chris said he called them plasmic sentient orbs, which is like got me to revisit our plasma episode from like a year ago. The idea that like these plasmas are living beings, these plasmas are potentially aliens in their own right. And I love the idea that we got into on that show that these plasmas can act as vessels, the same way a robot can, the same way we can, for whatever these beings are. Like the way they come around, like aliens, phenomena, ghosts, whatever, orbs across the board come around during lightning, which is a plasma. They quote ride the lightning. I think they can also ride these plasmas. They can manifest, communicate with us, interact with us, like via plasma. For all we know, possession is happening via blood plasma. Like, it's interesting. So, and like, I have this whole big hologram thing, like synchro thing that I want to do in the morning. Like, it's been gnawing at me all weekend with the holograms. And I'm like, the holograms are laser-induced plasmas. So it's not like, I don't think blue beams to like, this is a tangent, but I don't think blue beam is the holograms to fake an invasion. I think these things could potentially like possess a hologram, possess the plasma, ride around in a plasma. So, and that's his orbs. So to take that, like the orb is as a way as a vehicle for these entities to interact with our world. And then what are we sticking into them? The article I saw was, behold the orb, this orb thing, this eye retinal scan for global, like for basic income, blah, blah, blah. It's behold the orb. And there was a whole memes from like a year or two ago, 3 years ago, pondering the orb, and everybody staring at an orb. That's the whole meme. I don't even understand the origins of it. There's a wizard looking at his crystal ball, and it's called Pondering the Orb, and it was just millions of different variations of that, staring at orbs. So it's like a gateway to the soul, a conduit for Lovecraftian horrors and entities to enter our world. Combine those two. I mean, I don't know. Like, to enter our bodies, to inhabit us, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, like technologically speaking, like what we've talked about, the black box model, AI, and like I said, Jen wrapped it up incredibly well. To tie back into your call, like I said, she said an eye for an eye, and you were like, an eye for an AI? Maybe that's where we're at. Exactly. But I think in those terms, like the black box model, latent space, all this stuff, it's unexplored places in the universe. This is the thing, right? So if there has never been an actual large language model in the universe, and let's say again, think about this however you want, but if we're the only intelligent entities in the universe, which seems incredibly unlikely to me, but let's say it's the case, then that means this black box model of the AI in this latent space is unexplored territory within a subsection of a universal space. And so basically we're doing weird shit. We're doing shit that has never been done in the universe before, just with these new algorithmic large language models, which again it's creepy. It's fascinating to me. It's creepy. Like we talk about this stuff all the time, but how it all fits together, an eye for an AI, a pound of flesh. Like I said, maybe this is where we're at. Maybe this is exactly where we should be, or maybe where we shouldn't be.
Exactly. And like, so just take that one train of thought with the AI, and we've done shows and shows. I feel like we're really pioneering the idea, not to toot too much on our own horns, but the idea that these things we're not birthing. And shout out Bailey, she's the one who really like got this in my brain. But like that, we're not building a sentience, we're summoning one, we're contacting one. That the AI is just the tendrils through which an existing sentience is communicating with us. So take that train of thought, and also the orb train of thought, which an orb is the same thing. These plasmas are the same thing. It's vehicles for which these intelligences, these sentiences, these ultra-terrestrials can move around, can communicate with us, whether ghosts or the UFOs. But the things that are being summoned are orbs. Like Jeremy Corbell's friends call themselves, quote, the orb summoners, not the UFO summoners, the orb summoners. And like the ball lightning concept, the idea that they're experimenting, the government was experimenting with ball lightning like crazy. And take like the Rendlesham Forest incident. And like that's like Britain's Roswell, and the idea that like they were doing ball lightning experiments at Porton Down, like a few miles away. They're doing and then like MK Ultra type experiments on these people. So the idea is, did they fake a UFO experience with ball lightning and with drugging the soldiers? And I'm like, no, it's a ritual. It's to put these in altered states, and then to create a plasma vehicle for these things to enter, to ride around in, they can't manipulate our reality. They need vessels. And if plasmas can act like that, this fifth state of matter, crazy weirdness, then like that's what the orb symbol represents to me. It is the entities. So we're putting these entities, we're sticking our gateway to the soul against these entities. So whether that means they're going to possess us, or they're trying to map our soul, the soul library concept, so that they can imitate us and work their way around us, or whatever. I don't know. And then like the whole, again, like the observer effect idea, where like potentially like however we see, like however we take in reality is what's manifesting reality, creating reality. So if these things are trying to manifest, if they're trying to control reality, then they could be potentially trying to recreate the mechanism, the tool that we use to do that, which is like sight, the eye. I don't know. And then like the whole Oculus thing, and the idea, like I don't know, like the Masonic tracing board is this like light entering, this like light bouncing around off these mirrors and everything, and it means like it's reality creation. And that's kind of like it's the checkerboard floor, like it looks like a room, but that could be the body. And the idea that like the Masons are like building the person, the human temple, more so than the conspiracy angle. But like, so that temple would be inside of you. So the light coming in would be the light coming in inside of your body through the eyes, and that's controlling everything. That's controlling reality. That's the secret that they know about. Am I off on too much of a tangent? I don't know. And the idea this is mirrored.
No, you're good.
Like mirrors.
Yeah. The actual thing you stare into is a mirrored sphere, and then it has sort of that black pupil that you stare into. I mean, we've talked about this on like an unbelievable amount, like sort of that black mirror business, but also in the sense like you're describing, it's basically transferring our reality to something else, like you're describing. I think this is where we're at. Hey, and by the way, don't forget that the guy in that article we just read, he was like, "Oh, I was really scared at first, and then once it happened, I was like, oh, well, it's done now, so I can't be scared about it now." Yeah, okay, congratulations, you just signed over your entire the entirety of the rest of your life to a private corporation that may be hacked and may be used against you. Congratulations.
Exactly.
Think twice before you do these things, guys, because this is what I'm talking about. It's not as simple as, oh, well, something happened and it's fine. It's not like you stepped on, some gum on the street. It's not that. It's not that at all.
Yeah.
So just be careful, be thoughtful in these things, and don't be dumb. Please don't be dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing stuff, Derek. Yeah. What else you got? Go ahead.
But basically just to wrap it up, like they're mapping. There's the soul libraries. They're peering into the mechanism in which we, like, our connection to divinity or to manifestation or whatever. And it could be 3-pronged. It could be they're mapping that, like, our personal VPN, so to speak, in order to get in there to, like, hijack us, like, specifically like possession style, or to, like, recreate the system that we're using so for themselves, to the whole Star Wars droids gaining, like, having a soul, gaining a soul, gaining that essence that we have that they don't have, that they want. That's the Greys, that's robots, that's whatever. And then, or the manifestation aspect, the controlling reality, that like, if that's the reason why they're using us, why are they even dealing with us? If these Lovecraftian old ones if we're ants to them and stuff, because of this, whatever the power we have, the way we react, like the observer effects, starting to tap into it. But, like, now they're able to potentially get into that system, like, override it, or, like, see how it's working, or, like, get an on-ramp into how that mechanism is working by able to, like, I don't know, have the roadmap to our eyes, which is the roadmap to our soul. I don't know. I'm rambling. I got to get back. I'm all over the place. I'm just glad the call worked. I'm really sorry about that. I was really bumming out.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's totally cool. Like I said, when you've been through all the trenches like I have, one thing like that is no big deal, and you should consider it no big deal. It's all good. You slay it so hard when you're here. So one tech issue is not your fault or my fault. Always a pleasure, brother. Thanks. I want to point out real quick before you go. I did see the actual Vegas orb. I went down and saw it with my own eyes and took a picture. This picture on the stream, I'll link it in the description as well. Like, I took this picture with my own camera, and I was there watching this thing change. And I've got a video, by the way, Derek. This one's for you. I've got a video about that portal. Like, I was actually exactly 90 degrees to that portal when it opened up in the thing, and so I got a very clear video shot of everything inside of that. I'm gonna send it to you. I'll drop it in the thing. But I mean, this is, hey, look, this weird ass eyeball out there on the Vegas skyline. This is fine. Yeah. This is fine. Derek was like, "Don't get possessed by accident."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, we got like black mirrors on top of, like, orb-shaped things on top of, like, that are projecting eyeballs. It's like layer on top of layer on top of layer, representing, like, entities and contacting entities and portals to other realms and see you on the other side type of thing. It's like the same themes we talk about all the time, and it's coming up crazy. But I think the plasma aspect and the way these plasmas form as orbs, ball lightning, all kind of stuff, and orb adoration is super interesting. And I feel like our plasma show, I'm going to go back and listen to it, I think, after this show's over, because I think we're onto something ahead of the curve. But it's interesting now that, like, that orb, that symbol, that's what I'm trying to get at. If that sounded like rambling, it means they're adorating these orbs because orbs are plasmas, and those plasmas are the vehicles for entities. And now we're sticking our eye against it, and it seems scary to me. That's it. Great show, Mike. Great calls, everybody. Sorry again. Great call. But,
no, you're good. You're the best. That's Derek the Night Stalker. You know him, you love him. Links in the description. TroubledMinds.org/friends. It says follow Derek here or follow the Night Stalker here. He does have a YouTube channel, and he does have an actual trailer video. It's STOCKER Night Stalker. He is working in a grocery store, and he peels out time to call us and spit fire. So please go follow him. Like I said, it's an important concept in terms of helping us together. Like I said, I never expected to be in the middle of these amazing whirlwind conversations with all these amazing people, but here we are. And so I feel blessed for that. And like I said, I feel like I'm not doing enough for these amazing folks that bring these conversations to the forefront. So please do the thing. Links in the description. Follow him. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Follow him, and then follow everybody else there too. Go buy some books, go spend some money, go do the things. Like I said, look, I try very hard to not to be like extorting you guys for money and being like, I'm not coming back tomorrow if you guys don't like tip $5. You know what I mean? Like, fuck off, Mike. That's so scumbag. You know, but look, you notice all these amazing people that make this stuff happen. It's incredible to me. And so look, I defer. Help them if in many cases, look, they have social media stuff. Just follow it. Just make an account if you don't have it. In many cases, it's YouTube and everything else that you already have. So please go follow these amazing folks. Buy some books. You know where they're at. Links in the description. Like I said, if you want to be part of that list at troubledminds.org/friends, you don't have to have like a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything. Just share these conversations. Drop them on Reddit and stuff, and just let me know you're doing it. And if you got something to sell or whatever, you got a small business, we'll put it in there. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm here to help you. You're here to help me. I'm me, you're you. Together we're us. And you see how powerful this can become. And this is why I think they're scared of us. I think this is why, I hate to bring up Alex Jones because he's so off the rails most of the time, like in the worst way. But I mean, it's why he built a platform and people were behind him. And it's why they ran him off and tried to cancel him. Because that type of stuff is threatening to the establishment. We're threatening to the establishment, guys. Just talking, just considering these things. Shout out to Hiker Emoji, promoted over on Rumble. You're going to be the new mod over there. Keep an eye on it as you see fit. Ban the annoying bastards. There we go. Like I said, I back you up 100%. Hiker Emoji's been fantastic for a very long time, with always good thoughts and always here chipper and interesting and listening and contributing to the conversations. Here's the deal, right? In the case of all of this, I have no actual answers. Zero. Okay? I don't. I want to make that very clear. But I think the concepts are more important than personalities. I think the concepts are more important than pretty much anything else. And that's really what this is all about. All right, so let's GTFO. If you want to help Troubled Minds directly, you know what to do. You can sub up directly on Rockfin. It's the best value because you get not just the Troubled Minds additional stuff. You get all the things on Rockfin. It's $10 a month, and you get everything on Rockfin. It's an incredible value. Tons of great people over there. You can tip on Rumble directly or sub up there. In other terms, troubledfans.com. You can buy the hats and shirts, the merch, whatever. The deal is this too. Please. Like I said, don't take me wrong. You don't have to spend money to be part of this. If you don't have money to spend or don't want to spend money, totally cool. Spread the word. Let people know there's a conversation happening, but we're not going to talk politics and tell you who to vote for. It's not part of this. I'm not going to do that. There's so many people doing that, and by the way, they're all shills. They're all shills. They're all brainwashed shills, and quote me on that. That's a fact. And if somebody's like, look, if somebody's trying to like go out of their way to back up Donald Trump, shill. If somebody's trying to go out of their way to back up Joe Biden, shill. Prove me wrong. In any case, look, it's all garbage to me, and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I want to just chill and consider cosmic concepts, conspiracy theory, and, well, everything else. You guys are amazing. Thanks for being part of this. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Oh, by the way, listen to the podcast feed. Almost 700 episodes, 5 years of Troubled Minds. It's the best way to help. Let those commercials run, because if you skip them, I don't get paid. What is it? iTunes, Good Pods, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, it's completely free. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. I'm going to go eat and catch you guys later. You're all amazing. Thanks for being part of this, and good game. Yeah.